What is going on, fellas? Today we are breaking down some of your Dynasty Fantasy Football rosters. We have a number of trades, a couple of team reviews queued up on the site here, and we're going to break those down today. Before we get into anything, I do want to shout out that we don't have a ton of team reviews today. So for those of you guys that maybe want to get your team reviewed, shout out your username in the chat. Maybe give us a reason why you want a free team review voucher, and we'll probably send you one. For those of you guys that do want to get your team reviewed for sure, the link for that is in the chat. But Danny, we had a couple of big NFL news today that we should maybe react to before we get into some of these team reviews. From a fantasy perspective, not a whole lot went on because Jalen Ramsey, Minkah Fitzpatrick both play defense. But Jonnu Smith going from the Miami Dolphins to the Pittsburgh Steelers back.
Arthur Smith couldn't resist.
Exactly. Back reunited with Arthur Smith there. So what are your thoughts on the fallout from Jonnu Smith's standpoint, from the rest of the pass catchers on the Miami Dolphins? Pat Freiermuth, obviously kind of a big loser of this trade. There's also now kind of budding rumors that maybe the Dolphins are inquiring about Kyle Pitts or Michael Mayer, some of the available tight ends via trade as well.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. Like you said, I mean, maybe it's a Michael Mayer, maybe it's a Kyle Pitts. Realistically, like any tight end that probably has a little bit of juice, maybe some yak ability, I'm sure Mike McDaniel's keeping tabs on. You pointed this out, but Kyle Pitts, literally a guy that went 4th overall in a draft. They took Waddle at 6. Surely they did a ton of homework on him. It'll be fascinating. You don't trade Jonnu Smith unless you have a plan to potentially get a tight end, because we were looking at their depth chart, and currently there are 4 tight ends on their roster. I know one of them, and that is Pharaoh Brown, which is a blocking tight end too.
Yeah, no, there's not a whole lot of juice at the tight end position there. So, I mean, obviously, I think this is huge news for Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane, Jalen Waddle, because that's one less target you got to compete with. Specifically, I think for Devon Achane, it might be great news because Achane and Jonnu were kind of the get the ball out quick guys last year, which, I mean, Achane already led the running back position in targets when Tua was healthy. So, and we also heard, I think when Tua was coming back, he said, I need to just focus on getting the ball out quick this year. It's like he already had like one of the fastest time to throw of any quarterback in the league. And now he's still talking about getting the ball out fast. So I think we might get a shit ton of targets for Devon Achane this year. And like I said, very good news for Tyreek and Waddle, because for whatever reason last year, Jonnu Smith was just the guy that Tua gravitated towards. And even when Tua was out of the lineup, that the other quarterbacks gravitated towards. So my 32% Tyreek Hill or 31% Tyreek Hill on Underdog feels pretty good right now.
Yeah, what was I sent the screenshot of my percentages. Let me take a look. So Tyreek Hill, 737 invested, 21% ownership. Jalen Waddle, $662 invested, 15% ownership. Devon Achane, 15%. Tua Tagovailoa, 15%. Jalen Wright at 5%. And then I only actually had, on the 51 teams that finished, one reported Jonnu Smith share and one reported NWI share. So should be fascinating. I mean, NWI, obviously, like 18th round, whatever, like maybe he catches a couple spike weeks, but realistically, just happy that Jonnu wasn't the guy that I was drafting here. And we'll address Patrick in a second, because I will show some stuff. Actually, I may as well just do this now before we get into the mitts and get through everything, because obviously once we start, we're going to want to go through all these teams. Yeah, it was a crazy event. Kitchener, Ontario is the site of the biggest Call of Duty event of the year. I mean, shout out the homeland of one Bushy boy.
Yeah, born and raised, brother.
Born and fucking raised. And I may as well just show you this, because obviously you're interested in Call of Duty. So
as I often say, yes,
I'm talking to Patrick. Call of Duty. No, I'm talking to Patrick specifically. Yeah. So I got this at the event. Obviously with the main man himself, Hex, that's the owner of the org. We actually like fist bumped rings together, so that was funny, because I had my ring on. Obviously, he had the optic from last year ring on, and I got I obviously got way more, but video of the moment. Say all the Americans saying there's absolutely no one in the Kitchener venue were right for the first 3 days, but the 4th day, man, that shit was packed.
Yeah. All right, that's enough of that. Let's talk about some fantasy football teams. And yeah, we do get the actual full deal was the Steelers got Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, and a 7th round pick in exchange for Minkah Fitzpatrick and a 2027. It just literally, Ari's tweet just says, 5th round pick. Okay, so they got Minkah to 5 for a 7th, Jonnu Smith and Jalen Ramsey, which interesting trade. And like I said, I think there's a couple of tight end trade targets available that Miami maybe goes after, whether it's Kyle Pitts, Michael Mayer, I saw people floating out Noah Fant as well because they drafted Elijah Arroyo. I think that would make some sense
Luke
as well.
Schoonmaker, baby.
Yeah, nobody cares about Schoonmaker, so that's not going to matter. But yeah, let's start, Danny, with the trade questions as usual, and then we'll go through the full team reviews. And again, if you guys are just joining us and you have not gotten a team, specifically if you've never gotten a team review from us, but you have an account on the site, flockfantasy.com, promo code FSE. You have to have used our promo code in order for us to be able to send you vouchers. Let us know if you want to get a team covered and drop your username in the chat, and we might fire out some if we need some more team reviews throughout this stream. And again, if you guys do want to just purchase a review, those are linked up in the chat there. So let's start with Big Dawg Car, which is the first trade question that we have here. So he's trading away Saquon, I guess, in exchange for a package so that he can kind of reload. And I'm guessing, so he says Saquon contend, package reload. I'm guessing he doesn't know necessarily how strong of a contender he is by asking this question.
If you don't know how strong of a contender you are, take the young running back in the first.
Yeah, like I'm looking, okay, so this is not his team. The team is, yeah, I mean, you are not a strong...
Barkley's gone yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not saying your team is bad, but you don't have your first rounder in 2026. You'd be recouping a pick there. You don't have your own first rounder in 2027. So I do think a nice little reload kind of situation would not be the worst idea. It's a start 8, so you kind of want to have that star power at the top, and you have some, but it's not like insanely, star power laden team, especially in a 1 quarterback league. Mahomes and Stroud are not going to be quite as valuable as that would have been in a super flex as well. So again, taking the package for me is a very easy decision to make, because Judkins
insulation
in a vacuum is lower value than Saquon Barkley, but you're insulating yourself with that first round capital there.
Let me ask you this. What are the percent chance that Quinshon Judkins will be ranked above Saquon Barkley in dynasty rankings next year?
I would say
I would say 30 to 40%.
Catastrophic year from Quinshon Judkins for him to not be ranked higher than Saquon. Or even if Saquon repeats RB1 overall, he's a top running back in fantasy. He's probably like dynasty RB 8 to 10, depending on how many young running backs take steps forward and all that kind of stuff.
So let me ask you this. Let's just say Saquon Barkley does what he does last year, 22-ish, 22.5 points per game. Quinshon Judkins, 12 to 1,300 yards from scrimmage, even if it's only like 4.1 yards per carry, but he scores like 7 touchdowns. Like if he does that, he will be ranked probably straight up over Barkley given the age complex.
Yeah, I would say there's probably a 70-80% chance he's ranked over Barkley, depending. And then you get a back half of the season where Judkins is a back end RB1 or something, he's going to be dynasty RB5 or something. It's not even going to be close. So yeah, I would, in a reload situation, do a quick reset next year. Hopefully you're able to compete there, get a high-end draft asset in next year's class, and a young running back to help kind of further your winning window in the future. I've done a lot of trades like this, like in our Tone Setters League for
easy insulation.
4 years. We've been in that league 4 years. I've been a competitive team the whole time, and it's because I've taken trades kind of like this, where in a vacuum, you're like, oh, I'm a contending team. I probably don't want to sell Saquon Barkley. But then at the same time, you're like, if I can insulate myself and keep my winning window alive when you can make trades like this, it was like the trade I made with you where I traded you McCaffrey and Devontae Adams, and I ended up turning that into Drake May in the rookie class. It's like you're able to kind of offload some, veteran assets and then turn it into young assets. And then maybe when you need to trade for veteran assets, like I did when I traded for Devontae Smith during the season.
107 got you May?
I traded up from 107 with a second, and I got him at 105.
Got you. I was going to say, I'm like, holy fuck. Did he actually fall that far in our league?
He slid to 105. I took him at 105.
Fair play. Yeah, no, it's worked for you, bro. You're able to win last year. And with that being said, this year, Tone Setter Truthers, I would say, like, is a very competitive league on a year in, year out basis.
Yeah, no, it is a very competitive league. And I won it last year, and you won the year before?
Yep.
Yeah. So we've been the 2 champions recently. So again, we're going to go over the super messages and the trades first, and then we'll go over the team reviews. I did see somebody just use their annual voucher on the back end just now. So again, if you guys are unaware, you do get a free team review, annual Mother Flocker, promo code FSE. When you sign up, you do get a free team review there. And also 2 more quick announcements, and then we'll keep going. Graphic designers, if you guys are a graphic designer, link down below in the description. Send us your portfolio. We're looking for some thumbnail graphic design help. And also trade value chart live update went live yesterday. So you guys probably watched the video yesterday or 2 days ago of the trade targets by position. The trade value chart's now up to date on the site, and we're going to have a lot of trade related dynasty content coming up. So it's definitely going to be very relevant. DJ C32, who should I drop? I need to let go of 2 players. Now, DJ, if you are in the chat, I do not see your roster. So you're going to have to tell us your options in the chat, because we can, send you a super message voucher to resubmit that, but you did not list your roster there. So I have no idea who you have options to drop.
Go back up to it quick, because it was like a little like eye emoji. What's the eye emoji in the top right corner?
Oh, that's just to see the question.
Oh, okay.
I think he was meaning to submit a roster here, or I don't know. If you're in the chat, just let us know who you have to drop. Otherwise, Danny, maybe send him a super message voucher there.
Is this you? Maybe Dakota. I mean, DJ. I'm not sure. Let us know.
Let me see. I can see it on the back end. Yes, you submitted it. Little Gaming, you're good. I saw it on the back end.
Okay.
We'll get to it after the trade questions and such.
AJ, you can submit a trade question asking me what my favorite breakfast food is if you want.
Yeah, you can.
So if you want our thoughts on your Devi team, feel free.
Yeah, go nuts. Spencer Riley trade question here. Big lot of moving parts here. So Harrison and Hampton, essentially, by my rankings, is basically a wash in terms of value. It's 27th overall versus 30th overall. Like, it's essentially a wash in this trade. Bryce versus Kyler, I guess would you say Bryce in an early to mid second for Kyler in a third is about fair? Or do you think you'd want a little bit more on top of that for Bryce or for Kyler?
Either way we slice it,
the Ibuka side's winning this, right?
Yeah, because when
the
I'm
Ibuka versus Kyle Williams discussion is not close.
Because let me ask you this: when you combine this offer, and let's just say even if it was Bryce Young plus Ibuka for Kyler plus a third, I love Kyle Williams, but if you have the opportunity to cash him in for an early to mid second, like I think that, like I would take the early to mid second over him right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. And then again,
and obviously Bryce and Ibuka over Murray in a third, anyways. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm also curious, just really quick, does he need running back help? I mean, he has Henderson and Genty and whatnot, so he doesn't really need running back help, but he also has a loaded wide receiver core, and he'd be getting Ibuka and Harrison for a trade down there, essentially. So, yeah, I think this is a pretty decent move. You don't want to sell Kyler because you have like a really good team already, but getting Hampton and Ibuka is like some serious firepower there. You could always take Bryce Young or Bo Nix or some of your other quarterbacks and go trade for a hammer quarterback later, but I think this is just in a vacuum value-wise a little bit too much to pass up for me, and I'll figure out my next moves going forward. So, yeah, I'm taking the Bryce Young, Amari, and Hampton, Emeka Ibuka side there. Staph infection, shout out.
That's another OG from a couple of these trade questions, that's for sure. Also, shout out Dynasty Dave. Appreciate you, brother.
Danny is not going to like this trade. Let's talk about this in a serious context here. An early to mid projected first. Let's say it's going to be 103 to 105 conservatively. Obviously, if we knew it was going to be Jeremiah, maybe it's a different kind of discussion here. We know it's going to be Arch Manning. Maybe it's a different kind of discussion here. I just don't think there's enough firepower on the rest of these assets. If this was Jackson Dart, a 26 one and a 27 early projected one, you could talk me into this, because then I'm like, okay, you get a young quarterback, you have another first round pick, and you're going to get insulated first round capital in a really high end class in 2027. But Swift, the 2-2s, Dart, it's not enough firepower of assets.
Well, and the structure of the offer just like doesn't really make sense. It's like if I'm trading for Jackson Dart, I think the most random player I compare with Jackson Dart is DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like if I look, so he has the Caleb Williams team by the looks of it. So he's not really in a position to compete quite yet. But if I look at this guy's team, yeah, like can you get like McMillan in a future first for him or something? Like could get a better asset in the deal. You know what I mean? Like Dart McMillan in a one.
I mean, like who's his quarterbacks other? So let's look up quick. Go to
it does give me some hope knowing that this team is pretty bad. Yeah, that it's going to be a high end pick in 2027.
Go to his team quick. I just want to see the quarterback core. So it would be what? Love to Daniel Jones.
And like if he hypothetically adds Dart to it potentially too.
Like realistically, because you have Bowers too.
Like where his team is at, I love the idea of acquiring a potentially high 2027 first. You know what I mean? Like where his team is currently situated.
But I'm thinking like how I can structure this team, right? So go to that, and then let's see the other team right here, because like he's got assets I want on this team.
Yeah, I mean, he's got RB. Like getting Hampton potentially would be appealing if you were able to go
And
Hampton in a
Hampton
27
McMillan
first.
one.
He's got a great running back core, so maybe he would be interested in just doing Hampton in the 27-1. Would you potentially do that if he offered you it?
If he offered Hampton McMillan a first for Caleb and Loveland, that would be more intriguing.
Yeah, I guess you have Loveland and Bowers. That's definitely interesting. That's a good way to structure it.
Yeah.
I mean, if he offered me Hampton in an early projected 1 for Caleb Williams, I'd probably take it, to be honest. So that's where I'm at with that trade. Because I mean, Hampton's an early 3rd round startup pick. Caleb Williams for me is like a mid 2nd round startup pick. Again, he's a little
Mine's
higher.
a 1-2 turn. So
he's a little higher for you, but still an early projected 27 first. Like this guy's gonna have Caleb Williams, Jackson Dart, 2 great running backs, and then not a whole lot else behind it.
I guess my issue then is like you would need to have a plan. So let's take a look at the teams. And I mean, like, actually, we don't have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a good value insulated team right now. It's just actually, Keon Coleman's on this trade too. I mean, it doesn't really move the needle.
Care less.
I could care less realistically, but
hey, like he is not swaying me. He's not moving me.
Yeah, no, I would say the way
I agree kind of with this too. Like, if you had like let's just say your quarterbacks were like Bryce Young, JJ McCarthy, Jordan Love, and then you were getting rid of Caleb. It's like, okay, at least you have a quarterback like room that you feel good about. Or at the very minimum, you have 2 of those guys plus Daniel Jones, that'd be fine. It's just to me, like Love, Tua, Daniel Jones is too thin at quarterback for me.
Yeah, I'm personally fine with a quarterback core like that. But again, I would want...
It's not on this deal.
Not this deal. No, I would want... If you offered me Dart, McMillan in an early projected first or Hampton in an early projected first, I want better assets back in exchange for Caleb Williams. But yeah,
maybe Dart Hampton in a first if you find him desperate enough.
And it's funny that we bring this up because it looks like we will be reviewing this team as soon as we're done here. So it's not like we did something we weren't supposed to do. Anyways, ColeWhitty submitted this one earlier today, I think, or last night. Lamar Jackson in exchange for Bo Nix and Drake London.
Interesting deal. It is a start 9-10 team league, so the answer is Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Lamar is going to be the guy that you want here, and especially pairing him with Josh Allen on this team. And you're going to be weaker at wide receiver for sure without Drake London. And running back, you'll be fine. You'll be getting by with Barkley and Mixon and those guys. But
what you do then at that point?
What's that?
Yeah, you might be weak at wide receiver. Well, guess what? You have a 2 and a 3. Go send and see if you can get Devontae Adams plus another vet.
Yeah, no, this is a team that I'd be very comfortable kind of going all in with after a Lamar Jackson type of trade, because realistically in a start 9, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson being 2 of those 9 players is going to be a significant advantage over your league. Like nobody's coming within 10 points per game of your quarterback production between those 2 guys.
Well, what in a start 9? There's like, what would that be? 108 like relevant starting like lineup pieces on a week-to-week basis. Think of that.
You're gonna drop relatively speaking a good week 180, something like that. Like most of those, like you're gonna get 50, 60 points a game from your top 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah. So like having the 2 guys that can be absolute dominant game changers is big.
Yeah.
Also, I lied. This is a 10-team league.
Return though. I will say this is a relatively decent return for the Lamar Jackson manager.
This is a 10-team league, actually. My bad. So 90 relevant players.
Yeah, no, I would say if you were giving him a 1, I would really start to think about this. Like I'd be like, that's a little steep on my end. Like giving up a 1 plus Bo Nix, Drake London is quite a bit. But yeah, knowing that you're able to get Lamar here, like this is a great move, I would say. Okay, so let's give her a refresh here. And we should be good to go once it gets going. Okay, here we go. We got Rocky V for a team review. We got the super message that still is in the way here. Gingerale did submit. How's my Debbie startup look, fellas? Debbie 109, 111, 202, 203, 309, 404, 606, 611. He said he can't link team because obviously we're still in progress of the draft. Yeah. So he cannot link it. Danny, if you want to pull up his roster and we can just quickly look over it.
Look, flocking right, I believe. How many rounds left are there? I just know we're picking the bunch.
I think we're in like the 16th round at the moment.
Yeah. And hey, like I'm not a big Rodgers guy, but starting quarterback for the year at 16-11, I won't complain.
Yeah, I'm actually a little annoyed that he did that because I was hoping that the non-competitive teams would really avoid him, and I wanted to have him fall to me.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we can make a deal, Here, let me share my draft board though for people that are interested in the league. So I'll quickly also show obviously Bush in here. I'm in here, but obviously we're not the purpose of the trade question or the question because AJ is the one submitting. So we see here on top of the picks that he listed out in this. Here, let me stop the screen share for a second. On top of these picks, you guys see listed here in the Devi portion, which we haven't gone to yet. He does have the 109, the 111, the 202, 203, 309, 404, 603, 611. So clearly he's been getting busy getting those Devi assets on his team. We'll talk about a big trade that he was able to make. Now, obviously, hindsight, it looks very, very good. Let's just say, like, even when the deal was just made, it looked very, very good for AJ. A lot of guys are just figuring out the Devi format. At the end of the day, if you guys have not been in a Devi league before, just contextualize the fact that Devi depleted rookie picks are just not valuable. But obviously, if you're used to being in Dynasty rookie picks are everything that people crave for. So that type of disconnect is something that I would say is probably the biggest learning curve in Dynasty.
Yeah, I would say because people are new to Devi, you might get a couple guys slip through the cracks that end up being in the rookie draft. Usually there's like 3 to 5 bona fide Dynasty rookie first round caliber assets in the Devi depleted first. So usually the non-playoff teams will be picking back end first caliber guys. But the playoff teams, like you're looking at second rounders usually. Like a late projected depleted Dynasty first, or Devi first in the next year's class is probably about a mid to late second. And then the further you get into the league, the worse it's going to get because you do another set of Devi rounds and all that kind of stuff. But that first year, you're probably looking at 101 to 103 is probably going to be bona fide first round players. Maybe you get to 105, 106 if we're lucky, and a lot of guys slip through the cracks. And then the late first round is going to be more mid to late second round caliber guys.
Again, it is a little unfortunate. Obviously, you know, Ryland's learning from that as well. I don't think even AJ realized like how tilted it was when the deal was made. But I mean, it happens. Everybody's learning. Everybody's going to keep making mistakes. Hell, if you pulled some of our trades from 2020 when we started the Listener Dynasty League, some of them are probably, I mean, the prime example for me, you remember what I traded for fucking Treylon Burks?
It was Amon-Ra and something, right?
Yeah, it was basically a Amon-Ra plus. So it was a Amon-Ra first and a second, I believe, for Cam Akers and Treylon Burks in the rookie draft.
Oh yeah, if you guys want to see my worst trades, I literally made a video on it last year. Yeah. I traded. It's funny actually. One of those worst trades ended up materializing as a win for me. If you go back and look at that video, because one of the players I got in the deal was Anthony Richardson, and he lost a shit ton of value, obviously. So I was like, damn, I traded. I think it was. I got like Bryce. I traded Bryce Young. No, Anthony Richardson for Bryce Young in a 2 or something like that. And I'm like, damn, I lost Bryce. Or I lost. Anthony
No, it was
Richardson
the inverse. You traded up from A-Rich plus a 2 to get Bryce Young, if I remember it.
Yeah, right. And that actually ended up kind of materializing as a good trade for me now, which is funny as hell.
Yeah, you know, you take those for sure. But yeah, with that being said, here people just kind of want to see the team because how does my Devi startup look? So obviously we mentioned the Devi picks. Obviously it doesn't let me switch to my screen for some reason because StreamYard is dumb sometimes. Burrow, Love as his main quarterbacks. It's funny that he has Love now because I originally drafted Love, traded him to Ryland, and now AJ. So if you guys
around,
like, bro, look at these picks. Like everybody's just traded their pick. I didn't make a single pick on my own draft slot unless I traded back for it until the 10-11. I traded these picks away and then traded back for them.
Yeah, no, it's insane. The amount of I don't know if I've ever seen this amount of trades in a league before because the Devi picks are involved too. Everybody's just going crazy. Like every trade down is like, oh yeah, I also get his 502 for 510 in the Devi draft. Yeah. Like literally every trade has a Devi implication to it, pretty much.
Oh yeah. So as you see here, pretty competitive shell. Obviously, you got Warren there. The other caveat in this league, keep this in mind: 2.0 tight end premium scoring. So for reference, you guys might be confused, like, oh, well, Danny doesn't have Bowers ranked 106 in his startup rankings because I have those at, non-premium / a 1.5 and a 2.0. Bowers is 22 years old, coming off a 22 points per game season. And as you can see, based off the overall startup board, like where AJ got, Gingerale got Tyler Warren, Sam Laporta goes in the 4th round.
The premier piece of evidence is me actually spending meaningful capital on a tight end as well.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously get Hawkinson at the 5'9". We were clowning you for the first while, like, oh my God, Bush doesn't make trades, and then he started fucking scattering the board. So big shout out there. But back to AJ's team, like we said, strong quarterback core, obviously an advantage in this tight end premium format 2.0 with Warren if he develops into that needle moving tight end. Solid running back core.
I like the running backs. Me and him have been. He sniped the shit out of me on James Cook, so we might make something work during the Devi draft.
Yeah, that James Cook, Josh Downs back to back was a killer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely not what I wanted to see, especially knowing I'm a little weaker at running back now. But yeah, I think you've built
Strong
this team out pretty good. I mean, at first you were like, I hate my team. And now I think it's starting to materialize a little bit better for you. So yeah, I think we could probably move on. And I mean, having all the Debbie capital that you have is also going to make things a lot better for you going forward as well. So let's move on to, I think
What's
we're
up, Garage?
into team reviews now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we can get into some team reviews. Danny, if you want to monitor the chat for anybody that maybe left their usernames or whatever, we can maybe get some fired out.
Did you? Okay, so you put the big laughter to finish. I was literally going to ask you to do that.
Perfect. I did. Yeah, I completed it.
Perfect, because I got him his link.
Yep. Okay. So Rocky V, first review that we're going to break down here. He said he's gotten second place 3 years in a row, and he feels like a soft rebuild is kind of in order here. He said, I've toyed around with blowing it up, but he's happy to hear some suggestions. And he said, I've got some interest in Nico Collins, and I'm pretty much locked into trading CMC for 109 in Bigsby this week, which I think is a pretty good return for McCaffrey, knowing that getting any first round capital for him is kind of hard sometimes. But I think you got to sell him for that if you can get it on the board for you. And his name is
Loveland.
Yeah, here's the Lamar Margulis. I don't know what that is. Anyways, this is the team. He's debating blowing it up. First question is, would you?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
The reason
so maybe he looks like he already sold McCaffrey because he has 109 on his team and doesn't have McCaffrey on his team anymore. So,
and that's the big reason why. Once you make that move to trade away McCaffrey, you can't just revert back, say, "Oh, you know what? Actually, maybe I can't contend." It's like, no, you sold McCaffrey. You clearly made that with an intentional mind. I'm going to retool this team. If that's the case, and you already traded McCaffrey, you cashed him in for that 109 about relative value, especially if you're a retooling team. That's about a package you could be looking for. Saquon Barkley's off my team. Tyreek Hill's off my team. Maybe Tyreek Hill now you can profit off of the news. Oh my God, hey, they just traded Jonnu Smith. They clearly believe Tyreek Hill's going to bounce back. Like, that's easy ammo you can throw into trade discussions. And we talk about this all the time, but use the media to your advantage. When a move like that happens, be like, hey, you know what? Like, if you're interested in Tyreek Hill, look at his projection now. Like, Jonnu Smith's gone, and look how bad he was with Jonnu Smith. Like, little shit like that. Like, people start thinking, oh, you're actually right. Like, when Jonnu Smith was cooking, like, Tyreek Hill wasn't doing his thing. Could you imagine when
his underdog ADP he's going to go in the second round now?
Easily. He'll be a top 20 pick, right? So that'll be a factor. I would say out of all the pieces on this team, the last two I am to sell would be Nico Collins and Lamar Jackson. But outside of that, like I would still sell those, don't get me wrong, but like everybody else around them should be the priority to sell first.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like you said, Tyreek primo selling window right now, given the Jonnu Smith thing. Kind of sucks that Smith wasn't sold off of your team before this happened, because now it's going to be hard to sell him. Cortland Sutton, Cooper Kupp, those guys have good redraft projections, so I think you shouldn't have a hard time selling them. I mean, Kupp is not going to go for a whole lot, but if you can get any second round capital for him, he's off my team. Cortland Sutton, I think you should get relatively close to first round capital for. Maybe you can't quite get there. Maybe you need to package him in with Kupp or package him in with, you know, a different asset. Maybe Dak Prescott, Cortland Sutton gets you 2 1s, something like that. Would be a decent package to sell off. But yeah, you're going to be looking primarily to sell off Tyreek Hill and Saquon Barkley because they are the oldest assets on your team, and they are also the most likely to lose a lot of value should they get injured or something in training camp, and they're like worth a lot to contenders too.
And my advice would be, when you have your fodder pieces, so let's just say like your Cooper Kupp, your Marquise
Jordan
Brown,
Mason,
those type of pieces, include them in the Lamar deal, include them in the Nico deal, and just get the plus on their side, because they're going to be extremely tough to sell on their own. But if they're added as sweeteners in a bigger deal, people are not going to think like for example, like Ron does this all the time, where it's like, oh, you're going to buy Mahomes? Okay, guess what? You're taking fucking
Marquise Brown. Also, I have Marquise Brown stacked up with him. You take Marquise Brown too.
Right? Like, it just like quick stuff like that. Like, it's honestly one of the most overlooked things in Dynasty. It's like, there are certain assets inherently that are extremely tough to sell. So the best way to sell them is by including them in larger scale deals and try to get more.
And the easy gauge for, are they easy to sell on their own or not, is would they sell for a rookie second round pick or higher? And if they won't, then they're hard to sell on their own.
Yeah, because like realistically, if somebody's worth a third, it's like, do you feel all that excited buying a player worth a third for a third? Like, no,
not really. Like I like, for example, somebody that I like that's worth a third is on his team, J.K. Dobbins. If you could sell a third for J.K. Dobbins, I'm like, okay, sure. Like that's he's probably worth that. That's a decent trade to go after. But am I like really, really excited about giving away rookie capital for a guy that probably needs an injury or like some other kind of situation to go right for him? Like not really. Like I'd rather just have him tack on J.K. Dobbins to a different deal.
Exactly, right? So overall, though, like you said, I think you pretty much outlined it in your own assessment of the team. You already made that initial move, that initial power move by trading away McCaffrey. Once you make McCaffrey and you clearly determine your direction, be consistent, stick to that direction. Bush, you can speak firsthand how many people that we've been in leagues with in the past, that we've seen on Twitter, that we've seen overall, like just in general playing Dynasty Fantasy Football, that'll say, oh, well, I'm trading this piece. And then like a month later, be like, oh, well, now actually I want to contend. And like a month later, like, my team's not doing well. Whole team's on. Like we have a specific name in our second Debbie league that we, got some good value from, let's just say.
Yeah. Actually, I never did. I was never able to get a trade done with him. He gave everybody else every good deal in the book, and he decided to be a sharp when I negotiated with him. But anyways,
he almost made the playoffs, right? Like
and he ruined his first round pick that I had, and prevented me from getting it. It was a Debbie depleted first, but I would have gotten Cam Ward, Tyler Warren, or one of the top guys that was still available that slipped through the cracks. But anyways, Saquon, let's put some price tags on these guys for what he would probably want to get these. Dak Prescott, I would want at least a first and a second, but like we said, maybe patch in like a Cortland Sutton, a Cooper Kupp, a Marquise Brown, maybe Deontay Johnson, get some hype because of the Brown situation. Jordan Mason,
Hawkinson.
Hawkinson. I mean, Hawkinson's probably worth a little bit more on his own, so I feel like I could sell him comfortably by myself. But with Dak specifically, I'm cool roping in a couple guys to try and get 2-1s.
But I was just gonna say, like, I think like if somebody's like also needs a quarterback and a tight end, hypothetically, you can say, "Yo, dude, you'd be one of the top contenders. You'd get Dak, who 2 years ago was the quarterback 3 in points per game. 2 years ago, Hawkinson was the tight end 2 in points per game. It's like you add these to your team. Like, who's beating you? Give me 3-1s and we sign it off."
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And Tasty Tang says, can you guys go more in detail on going into a startup, planning on a rebuild? We did a video in person, I think about a week and a half ago, talking about Dynasty startup strategy. And a lot of that was centered around maybe rebuilding out of the startup. So if you haven't seen that video, definitely check it out. But we can detail our Debbie draft once it's over, because did you rebuild out of the startup, or did I? I definitely didn't. We're both competing, aren't we?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I'm pretty clearly contending. I think
this is one of the first time that's ever happened. Usually one of us is rebuilding out of the startup.
Yeah. So for those curious, I mean, like, obviously Tasty's asking, by the way, insane PFP.
That is insane. Yeah.
Like if we do this real quick, like I'll show you as well. But like I said, I've got Bowers there, Lamb, Hunter, Rice, Dak, Darnold, Lawrence. I was able to get Rodgers here at the 16-11, so I feel good about that quarterback core. David Njoku, I can flex on a week-to-week basis. He scored over 19 points per game in this format, and I got him in the 8th round. I'll take that every single time. Bucky Irving, DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones, Eckler. A little bit light at running back, but having a guy that can anchor the core there with Bucky Irving feels a little bit like a lot better. Like if it was just like Swift, Jones, Eckler, and maybe like a couple dart throws, I wouldn't feel as confident. But getting Bucky in that deal really solidified my path to trying to compete this year, I would say.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. My team, I would say a little bit more like not really weak at any position. I think Chase Brown, Pacheco, Brian Robinson. If you scroll down, I think I got a couple more. James Conner at the 12-12 to me was insane. Najee Harris.
I almost took him.
Yeah, 15-8 Najee Harris I also thought was really good value. And then I'm like loaded at tight end. Like you said, in this format, yeah, is Kelsey a 1-year asset? Yes, but I'll be able to flex him every single week in a 2x tight end premium. And Dallas Goedert also probably gives me some production if I need it. QJ, Sutton, McLaurin, DK Metcalf, Zay Flowers, and then Neighbors and Puka up top as the top receivers there feels really good. And then at quarterback, I mean, I'm set with Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Tua Tagovailoa. Like I'm not going to.
That's a good trio for sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of balanced across the board. And even though I don't have my Debbie 103 in the startup anymore, I still have the 6 Debbie picks that I came in with. In terms of I have 6 Debbie picks, I'm going to get 6 Debbie players. And I feel pretty confident in my abilities in Debbie, where there's no consensus, where everybody just takes their guys, that I can get some values on the board with my second round Debbie pick, with a couple the 307 that I got in the one trade down from Ayuk, the 2 4s, the 2 5, or I think I have 2 4s and 2 5s or something like that. So I feel pretty confident I'll be able to get some decent value there. But anyways,
also was just gonna say didn't show it earlier because we were covering it, but I also have Garendo in that running back core.
Yeah,
but we'll go back.
You do also have Garendo. But yeah, anyways, we could probably move on to the next team. This is pretty straightforward. You got to sell off your aging assets. You already kind of knew what your direction was, and you said I've toyed around with blowing it up. If you're gonna commit. And now that you've sold McCaffrey, you're pretty much committed to trying to retool this thing and trying to rebuild this thing. Don't be afraid to go after 27 first if you can, because it's a better class. Not to mention, it also will probably become cheaper, especially in a casual league. Most people will be like, 2 years away. I don't really care about those first rounders. So yeah, definitely make some moves, get some first rounders, and sell off some of those aging assets. We can move on to Staph infection. And we kind of briefly covered the trade that he had on the table for Caleb Williams, where he was getting a bunch of junk kind of thing for Caleb. Dynasty 12 team, full PPR, 0.75 tight end premium, super flex, and he gives us the starting lineup there. Rebuilding team out of the startup, and he said he's been trying to sell quarterback assets for picks, but nobody is buying right now. So he decided to do the quarterback hoarder thing, and he said would like some tips on the strategy that he should take. So good sign that you're number 2 in the rankings out of the startup. Always great. Yeah, picked up an extra 2, picked up an extra 3, and again, the only thing that really doesn't fit here is that T. Higgins is a little bit older. Jerry Jeudy is, those guys are probably more competitive wide receivers, but the rest of the team is pretty young.
Is this really a quarterback core, though? That's a pretty normal looking quarterback core.
I mean, I guess maybe his thought is that Tua slid at a value. Daniel Jones maybe slid at a value. Like, I personally would be okay without Tua on this team and having Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins, Kenny Pickett as my 3rd, 4th, and 5th quarterback behind Jordan Love and Caleb Williams.
Well, that's not really what I meant. What I more so said is like, I quarterback order, but like honestly, like this is like a very ideal, like just normal quarterback core I would build in a startup. Like I don't think it's necessarily a horde.
Yeah, you're right. It's not like if he had like Michael Penix in addition to this quarterback, that would be a little bit more of a hoarding quarterback room. But yeah, obviously the strategy for you is going to be, okay, my team's analyzer, who has the shittiest quarterback cores. This guy is Stroud McCarthy. He might think he's fine there. Mahomes and Ward, maybe you could sell him on a Tua type. Maybe this is the guy I think that he was. Yeah. No, this is not the guy that he was dealing with. This guy, Justin Fields, Matthew Stafford, Bryce Young, maybe you could go with that. And then the guy that he was dealing with initially was this Jackson Dart, Anthony Richardson guy. So this is going to be your best option for sure for selling a quarterback to this guy. If he wants Caleb Williams that bad, I get it. But I would actually probably try and sell him Tua because he doesn't really have a whole lot of quarterback production already. And he probably would be adverse to trading for Daniel Jones, given that he has Anthony Richardson, or maybe he would like Daniel Jones and thinks he could lock down the Indianapolis quarterback.
That could be a good pitch you make. Be like, hey, Daniel Jones is available. Anthony Richardson looks like he's lagging behind this in this quarterback competition, but you get Daniel Jones, you're guaranteed the Colts starter. Give me, realistically, Daniel Jones plus go to his team. Daniel Jones plus Jerry Jeudy for Roma Dunze.
Yeah, that would be an interesting trade that you could try and pull off. I mean, you already have Burden, but I guess you double stack up. I mean, do you want Loveland, Burden, and Roma Dunze on one team? I guess you just get.
I don't mind.
I mean, you'll onslaught the Bears, but you could also offer him like Tua and T. Higgins and see if that can get you anywhere in the vicinity of Amari and Hampton.
Who does this Clouds and Rain guy have? Because obviously you have Bowers and Loveland. Maybe you can try to sell off Loveland to the guy, the one with Kate Otten.
Yeah, you could try and sell him off Colston Loveland. That would definitely make sense. My guess would be that Colston Loveland went quite undervalued during the startup because otherwise, why would you take him?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, I will say, though, there is a 0.75 tight end premium. Maybe you just wait once Loveland's producing in season. People are like, wait, holy shit, 0.75. Like, this guy's averaging 17 points per game as a rookie. And they fucking panic and they offer you probably 1.5x what you get right now.
I think a lot of people do the thing where they don't really know what the scoring format implications are. And you think, as the smart dynasty player, I'm going to draft a lot of tight ends and then I'm going to sell them after the draft. But sometimes what happens is they need to see how stupid they were to overlook the scoring format. And then in season, they're like, holy crap, why is this guy scoring more than my wide receiver 2 right now? It's because the tight end 0.75 premium is carrying him.
Bush, why do you think by the end of the late round 3, early round 4 in our Devy league, I was just fear mongering the league? Like, oh, by the way, you guys do realize how strong tight end scoring was because I picked Bowers already. I wanted people to take tight ends.
I mean, I didn't hate it. I intended on getting Hawkinson or Kittle, whoever fell to me. That was my plan the whole time. So,
like, I feel like a lot of people just assume because usually in our rooms, like tight ends will fall because in like non-premiums 1.5s, like they just don't matter as much. But like when I took a Bowers at 106, people kind of rose alarm bells like, wait, Danny never takes a tight end early. And then we see obviously McBride go early second. And at that point, me and Rylan were texting like, when are everybody going to realize like tight ends matter? And then sure enough, like 4 tight ends went in, like the next 8 picks, I want to say, when we said that.
Yeah, no, they started firing off the board at certain points. And like me taking Kelsey and Goddard was strictly people don't really get that this is a 2x tight end premium. Mm-hmm. Like I'm going to be deciding to flex Zay Flowers or Travis Kelsey every week, and in a 2x tight end premium, it's actually not really going to be that close, to be honest, in terms of projection.
I mean, the better comparison for Zay Flowers is Keenan Allen, who's still on the board.
Yeah, okay, well, whatever. Even Terry McLaurin and DK Metcalf as well. Like you're going to be like, who are you flexing in a vacuum? DK Metcalf or Travis Kelsey? Everybody probably be like DK Metcalf probably gets more targets. To a 2x tight end premium, it's not going to be close.
Yeah. Also, like, hear me out with how much positive drumbeat that's been going for this guy and how depleted his wide receiver room is. I really feel good about Pat Bryant at the 14-11.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just coping, but I still would rather take Troy Franklin like 7 rounds later.
I mean, they play different roles.
I think Pat Bryant wasn't that great of a prospect, and Franklin was really young and really raw and had some learning to do. So I would rather play that second number 2 wide receiver in Denver through Franklin.
I think it's more
overvalued, and Bryant's getting some buzz.
Well, I think it's more likely they just play different roles because obviously they're completely different archetypes. I think it's more likely if Franklin were to be relevant, he would have to usurp Marvin Mims.
I mean, Marvin Mims isn't that good, and Franklin has his college quarterback playing with him still. Yeah. So, I mean, shower narrative to me still holds true on Troy Franklin.
Hey, he's still available at the 17-9 when you pick, maybe.
He won't be if he's there.
You're going to take him?
Yeah.
There you
go. But anyways, depend who else is on the board, because my boy Christian Kirk is still on the board too. And you know me, I love me some Christian Kirk. I love me some sexless Christian Kirk. But anyways, this team, obviously he's trying to sell off some pieces. Who are the guys that you say, okay, I really don't want to hold these players on his roster? I mean, Loveland kind of stands out because you already have Bowers. But let's say they need to see it first, the 0.75 tight end premiums.
There's like no real like alarming sells for me on this team.
I think Higgins and Judy, it wouldn't shock me if they never get more valuable in Dynasty than they are currently right now.
But like, do you have to sell those guys? Like there are certain guys, like if I see on a roster, I'll be like, yo, you got to sell like Cooper Kupp. Yeah, you got to sell Cooper Kupp. But like
even Darnell Mooney too. I don't know if he gets much more valuable than he's currently at right now.
Yeah, no, I'd be interested if you could get like full market value for Higgins and Judy, completely keep stockpiling those picks, build around those young assets you got. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to it. It's just they would have to be the right offer. Like that's all it comes down to for me.
Yeah, and then same goes for like again, like you kind of made reference to, you don't really have to sell one of these quarterbacks if you don't want to. Like especially if for specifically Daniel Jones and Tua, people might have to see that as well. Like if Tua's back on the field, healthy, Dolphins are cooking. He's back to a top 15 to 18 dynasty quarterback on the market, then you sell him because his concussion concerns are still the same. It's just that now people are seeing him actually produce and look good, and you might be able to sell him at that point. Same goes for Daniel Jones. People kind of assume, okay, he might be the starter here. You know, he's probably going to win the job. But if he actually gets announced the starter, that's when you'd probably want to sell him. Or as we know with Daniel Jones, he's got good weapons. He can run the football. The last time he started a full season, he was QB 10 in points per game. You might get people going, oh God, he's actually producing. Like if he was like Sam Darnold 2.0, people would be like, holy shit, this guy's worth like a late first or something.
For sure. Also, Brad and Cole are asking, got room for one more, and can I go submit a trade question? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Corey, I was going to mention this to you. Like, if we have to, and we got enough, like, I'd be comfortable going another hour 15, hour 30 if I need to.
Yeah, we'll answer as many questions as you guys want to submit, like legitimately. Like, and again, if we have some time at the end, I would like to get out at least a couple of free vouchers for team reviews because we haven't done that in a while. So we'll try and get through these a little bit faster and stop getting sidetracked. But
give me by the way a few minutes. Can you answer a couple of questions in chat? I've just got to quickly go to the washroom.
Yeah, I got you. All righty. So Danny is dropping a haymaker right now. So we're gonna wrap up this team again. T. Higgins, Jerry Jeudy, Darnell Mooney. Maybe one of the quarterbacks. Those are kind of like the sells on this roster, but for the most part, I think you're in pretty good shape. You had a good strategy out of the startup. Continue to collect first round capital, specifically in 2027, would really, really benefit you there. So I'll peep a look at the chat here. Jason says he wants a free voucher. You know what, Jason? I will give you a free voucher. And again, if you guys want free vouchers in the future, part of the reason why we would like you to sign up with promo code FSE is because we cannot give you free vouchers if you are promo code Flock subscriber, promo code Domain subscriber, whatever the case is. So really appreciate for those of you guys that do support us over there, because as much as we want as many users on the site as we can, we do appreciate when you use our promo code. So yeah, Jason just sent you a voucher. It's that easy, fellas. If you want a voucher, shout it out. I'd say we'll give out a couple more, specifically if you guys want to attach a story I've never had a team reviewed or whatever. I would like to get somebody like that a voucher. If you've never had a team reviewed by us, that would be ideal. And then yeah, Cole said if you have any other questions, submit those. Nolan's in the chat here says, guy wants Caleb Johnson. He has Olave, Addison, Jettas, and Neighbors. Do I add for one or hold? I would say if Caleb Johnson for Addison or Olave straight gets it done, I would do it. No problem. I think those guys are more valuable than Caleb Johnson. And I would be willing to add to Neighbors and Jefferson because they're obviously Neighbors and Jefferson, and they're very, very valuable and they're excellent players. So Brad in the chat says, Bjones. Let's take a look if you show up. And again, if you don't show up for us, the reason is because you are using a different promo code. But yes, I see you, Bjones, and I will send you a free team review voucher right now. And then we got Suplad voucher would be nice. Okay, Suplad, let's see if you show. You do indeed show here. So we'll fire you a voucher as well. And then what else do we got? What can I do if I originally used another code for Flock? Cole, the only thing you can do, unfortunately, is make another account. If you supported Mason, that's totally cool. We appreciate you reading our content, getting our rankings and whatnot. But yeah, the only other thing you could do possibly if you wanted multiple benefits from multiple creators is make another account, unfortunately. I wish we had a way to like get benefits from every creator or whatever. It's really hard for us to coordinate that stuff. Plus, individually, we want to be able to drive people to the site for our specific benefits. Like, for example, you guys get these from us. For Domain, you get the blueprints. For Land, you get their version of Blueprint. I can't remember the name of it. And then for Mason, I believe you get some stuff as well. I've never had one. I'm a 2-year player. Okay, we'll send you one as well if you show up for me here. NHR, can't spell. Cody, I'm not seeing your username on my end, so you may have used a different promo code when you signed up. Had a few, but already. Okay, so I'll see if I can give Brockodile one here. I'm pretty sure he shows up for me, no problem. Yeah, I'll fire you a voucher. And of course, Brock, we appreciate all the support you've shown us on the site because I can see on the back end you've been a subscriber for a long time and whatnot. Have not had a team review, just described me. Goat, got you. Had a team review a long time ago, Jameson says. Made a ton of moves this offseason. Feel like I'm a couple pieces away. Voucher would be dope. Okay, Jameson, whatever. You got to send me your username, or otherwise I can't send you a voucher. I've never had a review. I objectively want Cole, send me your Flock username. If you do not have an account already, you do need to use the promo code FSE as in Fantasy Stock Exchange Chuck. And you don't have to be a subscriber to the site. You can just be a free subscriber. Start your free trial, check out everything that we got going on, and then choose to subscribe whether or not you want to or not. And then voucher for ItAlexN would be appreciated. Alex, we're already covering a team of yours, brother. But yeah, we'll cover your team here, and then I'll send you one later. But I'll get some of these guys that haven't had a team review yet first. JMO Craft 123. Okay, JMO Craft 123. I don't see you showing up here, Jameson. So did you use a different promo code? Because if you go to your profile on the site, it says which promo code you use. So if it says Flock or Domain or Land, unfortunately, there's nothing I can do. I cannot send you a voucher if you did not use if you used a different promo code than FSE. Second year in a row using the promo code Jaceplant. I know you are absolutely a subscriber using our code, and you've also been very mighty supportive with team reviews in the past. So I will send you a voucher as well. Just submitted a trade question. Won't let me fill in any info. I sent you a team review voucher. That's why. But if you want a trade question voucher, I'll send you one of those as well. And we're just killing time until Danny gets back anyways. Trade question. Okay. I sent you a trade question voucher as well. Alrighty. Thread is my username. Never had a team review. I don't think I used a promo code. If you did not use a promo code, I think you'll be able to email the devs potentially and tell them, hey, can I use FSE's promo code? I'm not sure if it'll necessarily give you stuff right away. Thread, you used our promo code. You're showing up for me. So you're good.
Perfect.
By the way, I'm back. I sent out a bunch of reviews. I sent out like probably 5-6 reviews already. So we'll get into some of these, and then if we have time at the end, I can send out some more. But yes, we will continue to get through these reviews. And then if you guys do have, okay, Cole said he had been following, watches literally every video and has never had a review. So I will send you one here.
That's good.
Cole World, your username 06 does not show up, but Cole World no 06 does show up. Let me know if that's your account or not. I'm not going to send it a review voucher until you confirm that. But yeah, that I will send you that if that is your account 100%. But Cole World 06 does not come up for me. Okay, let's get into Alex's thing here. I sent out a bunch of reviews to people or vouchers to people.
I feel invigorated. I was in war.
Yeah, Danny was dying there, and Bjones looks like he used his review voucher already. ItAlexN said, I just adopted this orphan team. It's a pretty casual leagues with a bunch of college buddies. People think I'm a casual since I've never played with them before, and have been lowballing me since I joined. Any ideas on how I should approach this team? A lot of people are asking for one of my quarterbacks. Okay, so
it looks like they're the casuals because you're already number 2 in value. He's Negrin.
Oh, that's insane, dude. Is he?
Yeah,
it's AlexN as his team.
Yeah, his YouTube was Alex Negrin. I remember the name.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right to me. I'm just saying it's nothing.
And I was gonna say I remember the name because he was in the Listener League redraft.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the team. He said he took over an orphan. I don't know what kind of orphans are getting joined or getting left behind like this, but yeah, this is a great looking team. If you just took over this orphan, you say last year, he said he just adopted this orphan team. So this was this year. I don't know why that guy left the league. But anyways, here we go. Jalen Hurts, Bo Nix, Baker Mayfield, very good at the quarterback position. Trevion is the main running back with some, zero RB guys. Neighbors, Metcalf, McLaurin, Godwin, Adams. Good competitive wide receivers, maybe not necessarily some rebuilding guys, don't necessarily fit the structure of this team. But you do have Kittle, you do have Loveland at the tight end position. I mean, realistically, this team is kind of just like a running back away, maybe reposition Colston Loveland into another wide receiver, and you'd be in really good shape.
I would completely agree. And go back up to what he said. So he's getting a lot of interest for the quarterback position. The one that actually would stick out to me again, don't make a move unless you are getting very, very good value. At the end of the day, if they're trying to rip you off and be like, you got 3 quarterbacks, do you really want to enter the year with 3 quarterbacks? It's like, fucking watch me. Like, what are you going to do about it? Like, straight up, you're going to offer me 80 cents on the dollar. I will walk in with all 3 of these quarterbacks, and you're going to be salivating at the bit trying to get them from me for the next 7 months.
He said traded for Adams, Kirk, and Loveland this past week. Okay, that's good to know. So yeah,
I was just addressing the low ball shit because when people see, you got 3 quarterbacks, you got to move one soon enough. It's like, I don't have to do it to you, and I can make you wait the next 7 months, fucking up your offer like that. I love when people think they have leverage. It's just like, oh, well, you don't have to get my player. Actually,
if he's on my team, you don't have leverage. I have leverage.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, people think they have leverage because he's taking over the orphan. He's got 3 quarterbacks. He's got to move one somewhere or another. It's like, don't offer me bullshit then.
Yeah. And inherently, there's more than one person that could use a quarterback in this league. I would say I'm a seller in this, especially if you're reaching out to me. I know you are not the one with the leverage in that situation. But I'll double check for you again, Cody, after we're done this team. So if I were to sell one of the quarterbacks, I would actually probably shop Nix, just because Nix if you swap Nix out and got a wide receiver and maybe a 3rd quarterback back, let's say somebody was willing to give you Tua and a wide receiver difference maker for Bo Nix, I'd be interested in doing something like that.
So let's just think. So Bo Nix,
you're looking at a quarterback team here.
Well, like Tet McMillan plus Tua.
Yeah, or you could, he doesn't really have, this guy could just be after a quarterback in general because he doesn't really have a quarterback. Like, if he were to sell you JSN straight for Baker Mayfield or something, you could obviously entertain an offer in that regard. I'm trying to find somebody who has a quarterback.
Find someone who also needs a tight end if you can. Find someone who needs a quarterback and a tight end because you can even make it a bigger scale deal.
Okay, this guy doesn't need a tight end, but he could be in the market for maybe he goes Bryce Young and Xavier Worthy for Bo Nix plus a piece back.
I wouldn't add a piece back, but I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, that's definitely reasonable. This guy is Tua. Maybe needs a tight end, probably doesn't. But
That's your target.
Tua and Tedero McMillan sounds pretty decent for me for Bo Nix.
Dude, the fact that I literally said that exact offer and there's a guy with Tua and Tedero McMillan.
Yeah, I mean, we're giving you some ideas of like potential trade packages, but relatively speaking, in the JSN-ish, Garrett Wilson-ish range of wide receivers plus a quarterback 3 should be enough for Bo Nix, I would say. If you're just looking to sell Mayfield, you'd probably want to get like a Bryce Young or a Michael Penix or a JJ McCarthy plus like a solid competitive wide receiver, maybe like a Tyreek Hill or somebody like that would make some sense for Baker Mayfield instead of for Bo Nix. Like I'm looking here, this guy is JJ McCarthy. He doesn't have a tight end. This guy also makes a lot of sense as a potential trade target. If you could get JJ, Devontae Smith, and JJ and Devontae Smith get it done for you for Baker Mayfield?
Sir, JJ McCarthy plus Devontae Smith for Baker? Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that would be an interesting trade package that you could do as well. I mean, it's hard because this guy doesn't really have that great of assets. Because ideally, I'd love to sell this guy Loveland too, but he just doesn't really have any heat. Like maybe you could get his 27-1 or whatever. That would definitely make some sense.
How does this guy not have his 26-1?
I don't know, but I would do my best to get his 27-1 from him. JJ,
you mean to tell me guys in this league are accusing you of being a casual when this fucking sheep is in the league?
Yeah, literally. Would you take JJ McCarthy, Josh Downs, and a 27-1 for Colston Loveland and Baker Mayfield?
From this fucking guy? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying like going out structuring a trade around JJ McCarthy. This absolute 27-1 and maybe Downs or Smith would make some sense for this guy. He also has Jonathan Taylor too, but he's probably such a moron. He probably thinks he can compete.
This absolute lead brain, this absolute sand eater, go take him to the shed.
Yeah. That you can take this guy to the shed for sure. So I'm gonna just double check because I got Ben and a couple other people in the chat saying they can they want to look for vouchers here. I'll do that after this team is done anyways. But you're in a pretty good spot, man. If you can add a running back hammer to go along with Trevion Henderson, you can add a wide receiver at least of the like Garrett Wilson caliber. You're going to be a competitive team. And again, shifting the asset of Colston Loveland over to a different position would make some sense. Or if you want another
alternative, the lead brain. Wait, is that you in the league? Oh God, brother, I'm sorry to call you a lead brain, but if that's your team, I don't take it back.
You got some work to do, my man. You got some work to do.
So that's going to be available, I believe, come redraft season. Like after you guys do your draft, there should be the My Teams feature being able to submit, right?
Come redraft season. Yeah. I mean, we have never done a stream reviewing redraft teams, but maybe at the end of August, whatever, when a bunch of people have drafted their teams, we can grade some redraft teams for some people.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm actually a dumbass. How many times did you look at the Flock League and the My Teams feature? They absolutely can do that.
Yeah, no, they can for sure. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, we don't do normally like review streams of redraft teams, but come mid-August, late August, we can definitely fire up a stream and get some team reviews done for some people. Jameson, DM us or email us, and we can maybe work something out for you there.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, let me ask you this, Danny, because this team could also go in a different direction in my mind. Because if you look at his building blocks, Henderson, Hurts, Nix, Mayfield, those type of guys, Neighbors, Loveland.
You selling off Metcalf, McLaurin, and Kittle?
You could sell off the aging assets and pivot into more of a rebuild 1-year punt type of situation. Go acquire that Downs, JJ McCarthy deal plus a first from that guy for his Baker Mayfield. Maybe even throw in a competitive Devontae Adams just to get that deal done or something. I think that would make some sense as well because you could really go either way with this team because you got some great redraft projections. You also have a good piece of dynasty, value there. And Jameson's linked in the description of this video as well, if you're wondering what the email is. Also, but let me ask you this. Gun to your head. Let's say this league. They think he's a casual. That's a good piece of advice for us that we can think of. If they think he's a casual, to me, the route is maybe you sell off some of these contending assets.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like you took over the orphan. The thing is that almost 9 teams are rebuilding in this league. So 9 teams are rebuilding and they think they're going to be able to jip you in a fucking deal. Just tell them, hey, you have no fucking incentive to have this production. Hey, if you want to hold on to your contending pieces and fuck up your own pick, be my guest. Guess what? This is the offer on the table. You can accept it. If you keep trying to tax me, I'm not going to deal with you, and you're going to end up with the 106 instead of the 102.
Yeah, and if 9 teams are rebuilding in this league, then go do some shopping. I would say then that's probably better off. If everyone thinks they're going to rebuild, and if everyone's rebuilding, Colston Loveland should be easy to sell realistically. He's a 21-year-old tight end who was drafted top 10 in the draft. You should be able to get a wide receiver, running back package of veteran assets.
So Corey, you know this as well. When you're communicating, especially like when it's people that are trying to like get one over on you, straight up, you got to tell them like, you think that's going to work on me? Like, no, like. I know what you're trying to do. I know what you're intending. Like, don't even try it with me. Like you have to tell people straight up not to fuck with you sometimes.
Yeah, this guy's a good example. Rebuilding team. Go after his Garrett Wilson. Go after his Nico Collins. You might be able to use Loveland in a trade package for that because he doesn't have a tight end right now. He's a rebuilding team. I'm sure he would love to lock down that position in the long term. You should, like Wilson specifically, you should be able to get because Pete Wilson and Collins too, because they're a little bit older and because people are like, I have enough information on them. There's not as much of a mystery box with those guys as there is with Hunter and some of the other guys that he has. You might be able to get a nice little trade package from this guy to be able to take over some of his assets like a Nico Collins. Like, would you take, I'm assuming you would rather have like, he's not going to give you Nico straight up for Colston Loveland, but would you rather have Garrett Wilson or Colston Loveland straight?
Garrett Wilson or Colston Loveland?
0.5 tight end premium.
I mean, I'd probably still go with Wilson, but like, I don't like. I would go Wilson. I'd go Wilson.
Yeah, it's probably in a vacuum. It's probably a fair trade. I'm sure he'd be interested in potentially doing something like that because he has the wide receiver assets to be able to rebuild already, and he doesn't have a tight end. And Colston Loveland's one of the better rebuilding tight ends you can get. There's not many in Dynasty better.
Yeah, you ain't lying on that, brother.
So yeah, you got a couple of options here. I would say you're probably better off going the competitive route if 9 teams are rebuilding, but. Yeah, I think that should be it here. He said a lot of college buddies too. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be a casual league to some degree. I think you should be just fine going forward.
And you know how to talk to your boys. I think that's the thing too. Like, obviously I said, sometimes you got to be a dick. Like when you're with your boys, you can act like more of a dick to them than you are obviously if you just like join a league with randoms. Like if your boy's trying to get one over, you'd be like, buddy, what the fuck are you offering me? Like, be for real. Like straight up, like my boys will offer me shit sometimes. I'll be like, dude, like, what the fuck are you offering? Like, seriously, like, did you look at the offer before you click send?
Yeah, no, people do that shit all the time.
I'm sure you rib your boys for that shit too.
People do that to me. They go, dude, what is this offer? I'm like, just because you don't know who Colston Loveland is not my problem. You know what I mean? Like some of my league mates are casuals and they'll be like, I don't even know who Ashton Genty is, bro. Like, dude, not actually, but like, you know what I mean? Like I'll send them an offer with like Judkins in it. And they just have absolutely no idea how good Judkins is.
Like, oh, like rookie on the Browns, caca.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, next team we got here is from GymRat. Jamar's Attacks, looking to keep my team solid unit year after year. I mean, this is a monster. Let's look at the value right now.
Oh my God.
41,000 in value here. 12 spot.
I don't think we have a big enough woodshed.
Yeah, we don't have a big enough woodshed, but a 12 spot bench is a shallow league for sure. Start 8, 2 quarterback, 10 team league. He said, I will have to drop players after the rookie draft in August. I have 1 spot open and Isaiah Davis is a definite drop. So in my rookie draft picks 108 and 205 will be kept, 208 and the rest maybe not. Thank you very much. I mean, the answer for this team, because it's a monster and because you have to drop players, is consolidate. Like just go and get absolute hammers at every single position.
It's not even close to me. Why drop Isaiah Davis when you can take fucking, I don't know, Devontae Smith plus all your picks this year and go get a superstar wide receiver? Like, you do not need depth in a 10-team start 8 league. If we contextually said 90 relevant players are in the start 9, if we contextually said as 12-team start 9, 108 relevant players, like lineup players, there's 80 relevant lineup players in this league, Corey. 80.
Yeah, and you have, I mean, at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are top 24 players in Dynasty off the board, give or take. And so not to mention Rice, that doesn't include Rice, Smith, Addison, Odunze, Downs, Kamara, who's going to be great production-wise. Tua is starting quarterback, obviously, and Joki's a good tight end too.
I changed my answer.
The obvious hole here, right?
I was going to say, I changed my answer. Tua, 108, 205, 208. Heck, you want to throw your fucking 2026 1. What quarterback can you get with that?
Yeah, see how good of a quarterback you can get using Tua Tagovailoa. And if you want to keep Tua Tagovailoa as a third quarterback, that's fine. But Justin Fields is more than fine as a third quarterback in a 10-team superflex. So what I would do, find the lone guy in your league that likes Tua, because Tua, the challenging thing about him is that sometimes he's difficult to sell. But find a guy in your league that likes Tua Tagovailoa. maybe go to a bottom team here. Does this guy have
waiver wire whore? So guess what? If you drop Isaiah Davis, you know who's picking him up.
Waiver wire whore. But yeah, this guy doesn't have a very good team. Maybe go after Jordan Love using Tua and your, some of your later round picks, especially like if you can package a bunch of later round picks together because he needs depth and whatnot, you could definitely try and get anywhere in the vicinity of Jordan Love. But yeah, Jaden, go swing for Jaden, dude. Let's see how close can you get to Jaden Daniels with Tua and all of your picks.
The question though, how difficult it's going to be with that profile pick he's got.
Yeah, it might be challenging. I mean, he's got a Commanders or a Redskins profile pick. I mean, even Purdy, upgrading to Purdy would be nice. This guy's Achane and nothing else at running back. You could go after him. Bo Nix, again, you could go after him. Herbert, we never trade for because we hate him. Jalen Hurts feelings. This guy only has Jalen Hurts at quarterback. This is your guy. This right here is your guy. He has a weak team, no quarterbacks, bunch of rando-ass running backs too. This is the team I'm going after. And not only am I going after Hurts, I'm probably going after AJ too, because I want the stack and I think he'll be acquirable if he's selling Jalen. So
all I'm going to say at the end of the day, you don't have to worry about patching shit together with this team. You know what you have to worry about? Nope, wrong one. Yep, moves to make. Any buy low windows on elite assets you should be aggressively targeting. No need to balance elite point per game production versus shelf life. You have the team asset wealth to go get the best. This one's easy. Have fun. Buy hammers. Sacrifice value for the best asset in the deal if you have to. And on top of that, I think it's this. You are Thanos collecting the Infinity Stones. By the way, one of my favorite ideas is adding these into the StreamYard because it's just so easy to reference.
Yep. Yeah. No, I would say I'm putting together a trade package right now just on my side screen just of what he can maybe do to go after some of these guys. If you package together Tua, Jordan Addison, the 205, the 108, all of your other picks for that matter, who cares, in this deal, it still says you're robbing him of Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. So if Tua, 205, 108, Jordan Addison, hell, throw in Jalen Waddle too, who cares at this point in this league format, just go getting AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts double stack with Devontae Smith. That'll feel very nice for your team.
Throw him in Joku too. Like, who cares? Like, just fucking throw pieces at this guy and see if he bites.
I accidentally moved his team for some reason. I don't even know how I did that.
You ordered it by quarterback core, I'm assuming?
Oh, yeah, I must have done that. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, this team's insanely good. Go get another team, or go get another team. Go get another quarterback, and you are going to be chilling. We don't need to spend too much time on this because it's very obvious what the next step is. Let's move into AamirMann's team here. Actually, let me refresh because a lot of questions came in under the gun here. And then we'll get into it.
Sir.
Okay, so this is the team review that we're tackling here. Here's the kicker. That's a good name for your team. He is number 4 in the My Team's analyzer. Doesn't leave any specific comments. Let me just double check the DMs in case he sent it with the team review.
Sounds good.
But looking at the team, I'll let you look that over while I look if you had any questions specifically.
So here's the kicker. Obviously, the team on the screen, number 4 by the analyzer. We got that Caleb Williams, Baker Mayfield, and Bryce Young and Justin Fields core. So clearly 4 starting caliber quarterbacks this year. Definitely going to be potential as we get into the breakdown to potentially move one of those guys. Jahmyr Gibbs, Bucky Irving, Chase Brown, James Conner. Very, very good running back core. Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., and a bunch of Fugaz at wide receiver if I'm keeping it a stack. With that being said, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. are the building blocks you want. And if you could build around those guys, you're going to be very good. Dalton Kincaid, Cade Otton, fine tight end core, although you maybe need one more headliner as your starter. If Kincaid and Otton were your tight end 2 and 3, I'd feel very good about that, but I don't feel good about them being my 1 and 2. However, you have somebody else's first round pick and second round pick, Bob the Rebuilder, which is, I mean, based on that name, sounds like a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any running backs.
Right?
At the very least, you're probably looking at a mid first, if not an early first here.
They swapped first round picks.
Oh, it's the classic my team is better than your team type thing.
Yeah, that's comedy. And on top of that, of course, I believe like a part of that too is you moved your 2027 2 and got a 3 back in one of the deals you made.
Yeah, and you got an extra 2 in 26 as well. So yeah, I mean, all that you really need for this team to be competitive. 9,
by the way.
What's up?
10 teams start 9, by the way.
Yeah, all you really need for this team to be competitive is a couple more solid wide receivers, realistically, because Gibbs, Irving, Chase Brown, Connor, you're going to be totally fine with that. Baker Mayfield, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, Justin Fields, totally fine with that. Kincaid, if he can hit, Cade Otton, if he can hit, that would be fine for me as a tight end hater. But you probably do want, ideally, one of those guys to hit big for you so that you have a real difference maker. A 10-team league, you don't really want to be throwing out a 9-point per game tight end in there.
He does say he's the defending champ, by the way.
Little Gaming keeps throwing shit in there to get attention. He already said.
But
remember, he was the one who said, I'm the shittiest team that we were making fun of. And you were like, oh man, I didn't realize. And he was like, no, I'm just throwing shit in to get attention, is what he said.
Oh, I thought he mentioned earlier that he submitted a review. That's why I'm confused.
Oh, he might have, but he said when we were roasting that one team who said it was terrible, he was like, that's me. And then after he's like, nah, I'm just getting attention. It's not actually me.
It is him.
Okay, it is actually him. All right, there we go.
Hey, this is what's the fucking the big bad wolf? Fucking
yeah. See, he's boy who cried wolfing me right now.
A boy who cried wolf.
Legitimately him.
Type shit.
But yeah, wide receiver is going to be your biggest need. Next year's wide receiver class, unfortunately, not great for you. So let me ask you this: would you maybe make a move with one of your running backs to pivot into a wide receiver asset? And if so, which one would it be?
I mean, if this is a casual format, James Conner.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was going to say Bucky just because Bucky, if you told me right now that Bucky never gets more expensive than he currently is, it wouldn't totally shock me because I think James Brown's too much of a value to pivot off of. Jahmyr Gibbs is valued exactly where he should be, and I want to keep Jahmyr Gibbs kind of thing. But Conner is a good shout if it's a casual league, and I think Irving, if you could swap Irving straight for, Tedero and McMillan or something, I think that would definitely make some sense.
Absolutely.
Or Hunter, potentially, I mean, we got Thomas already, so maybe you don't want to go after Hunter. But regardless, I think this is a team that I'm comfortable moving off of someone. Let me ask you this too. It's a 10-team, start 9. If somebody gives you mid-first round capital value for either of your QB 2 or 3, are you considering it? If somebody were to offer you something good for Baker Mayfield or for Bryce Young?
I think you have to consider it. I think Baker, you probably want a little bit more for because he's obviously got that production value this year specifically. And I do think this is a team, you had a couple pieces at wide receiver. You have the depth at running back. Maybe you had a starting caliber tight end. Like, I think George Kittle actually makes a ton of sense on this team. If you can make a package where, let's see the guy with Kittle, maybe he needs a quarterback. The guy be I'd honestly be cool sending Young in a package with Kittle going back. Okay, so he's got Penix, Nick.
I mean, you could maybe get Dart back in return and give him a better quarterback.
Yeah, maybe that guy specifically is going to be tough. Can we just look at like maybe the Hawkinson team then?
I think the Hawkinson team was the one who had this guy has Warren and Kraft. I mean, maybe you could go after Kraft.
Yeah, maybe.
This guy's got garbage tight ends. McBride and Laporta. I mean, you could go after one of these.
Look at his quarterback core, bro. That's the team.
Yeah, this is the team right here. I mean, he's a competitive team too, so Baker probably makes more sense for this guy because he's going to be interested in Baker for sure, given the competitive nature of his team.
Can you get Pickens and Laporta for Baker in a piece?
Yeah, Pickens and Laporta would make sense. I mean, Reed is really cheap right now on the market. I think you could even go after Reed and Laporta for I think Reed and Laporta for Baker straight probably would get it done.
Yeah, if you could make something like that, that'd be great.
4-1s built up too. So you could get real crazy with this guy. You could try and go after some of those picks as well because your team is not quite ready to compete yet. You could even potentially sell him Baker, Bucky, and something else like Jawan Jennings from your team, somebody that's a competitive asset, and see if he'll give you George Pickens, Sam Laporta, and a first and a second or something, like to see if he can get some of the capital that he's built up off of him. Because he might be thinking, and if I was in his situation, I would be thinking this. I'm going to just go buy some hammers because I'm ready to compete. I'm going to go get Baker. I'm going to go get Bucky. I'm going to sell off some of these first round picks that I have.
Yeah, no, I think that's reasonable. At the end of the day, this guy, I mean, if he is the number 1 team in the league in terms of the evaluation tool, obviously on the analyzer, and his quarterback core is completely unsettled. I don't know if he thinks he's comfortable with Stafford and Shuck as his quarterback 2 and 3 going into the year, but I sure as hell wouldn't be.
Yeah, no, I would definitely not be comfortable with that unless he thinks Shadur is just going to hit big or something like that. But yeah, you got some moves to make. I would say collecting first round picks, collecting more assets, maybe chopping off a running back or 2, given that you're not quite ready to compete yet. Could you, if everything broke right for you, maybe sneak into a top 3 to 4 team if Kincaid breaks out and Jennings is a stud and maybe you get some production out of like a Coleman or a Shaheed or somebody on your wide receiver core? Yeah. But I probably want to build this the right way and not rush it. And I think maybe kind of being patient house money type of situation this year would make more sense.
Yeah, no, I think that's reasonable.
for sure. So gauge the quarterback market, gauge the wide receiver market, see if you can maybe get off of a James Conner because you're not quite ready to compete yet. In season, Tyrone Tracy pops up. You could maybe shop him at that time. Tajay Spears works into the workload with the Titans. You can maybe shop him at that time. That's probably how I would handle it going forward. Got a couple trade questions here from Brockodile. He has one on the table of Tyreek Tua stack with Chuba Hubbard for Justin Herbert in an early to mid second, essentially. So, I mean, this one's ripe for me to pick apart because obviously I'm the anti-Herbert guy and I'm the pro Tyreek. And obviously
you're not giving Herbert up for this, bro. You can't.
I think this is a bit. If this didn't have a 2 on it, I would probably do it.
I can't.
I'm lower on Herbert than the consensus, man. Again, a healthy Tua Tagovailoa will outproduce Justin Herbert the next 2 to 3 years. He will.
No.
Okay. Maybe I'm on an island with that take, but I really do think that Herbert is going to be throwing 22, 23 passing touchdowns a year, 475 pass attempts with obviously Ladd's a stud, but Harris and QJ and those guys.
If you're going to do that, then you must have been comfortable trading Mahomes for 2 or 3 years ago.
But Mahomes, we didn't know Mahomes was going to be going through. He wasn't projectable what was going to happen to Mahomes. It's projectable what's happening to Herbert.
Fair, but I'm not willing to give up. Again, like I have Herbert a little bit lower than consensus. I'm definitely not worried.
Also, Mahomes on him. Is better than Herbert as well.
Yeah, sure, but it's more so the aspect. Like I think very clearly Herbert's a top 6 level quarterback in this league. You get in rushing too. On top of that, they keep talking about the fact that last year the rushing was skewed with the fact that he's coming off that ACL ankle sprain at the beginning of the season. I do think we could see him run more, like back half of the year.
Where is he ranked for you in redraft?
Again, he's not that high this year specifically because there's more unknowns, but it is the Mahomes factor in the sense that Mahomes has had bad 2 years. We haven't ranked at quarterback 6 this year because at the end of the day, you trust that elite talent. So, I'm not willing to completely give up on Herbert, realistically.
It's different. It's the pass volume from Mahomes is higher. He has Rice, Worthy, Marquise, and Kelsey to throw to.
You know what that lended him to, though? A fringe quarterback, 15-point per game finish, and he is right back to where he was because people realize it's Patrick Mahomes, and he will have a bounce back here.
Okay. Well, if Rice misses the whole year again, Xavier Worthy's a rookie again, and Marquise misses the whole year again, then maybe we'll have
if Vlad McConkey wants to be a rookie like he was in the first half of the year, like trade up in the first 8 weeks, you look at it, he's averaging 44 yards per game. Do you think he's ever going to play like that?
No. I'll concede that
was his only
Herbert,
receiver.
because he's so good, can spike to a back end QB1. He can, because he's that good. Even on low volume, he can be quarterback 11 in points per game, something like that. My point is, though, I don't think even if you're saying, okay, yes, Herbert's better, I don't think the difference in production between Tua and Justin Herbert is going to be very different for the next calendar 3-4 years, as long as Tua stays on the field and you're pocketing in a best ball league, Tyreek Hill, Chuba Hubbard, who are going to be elite spike guys.
I don't think we can permanently say 3-4 years. You want to say 1-2 years? That's fine. What if Tyreek Hill retires after next year? What if fucking Greg Roman gets fired and they hire the most pass-happy offense coordinator for the Chargers? You know what I mean? Like, there's just certain sticky situations, and I don't think either are. Like, sticky situations, for example, we know Mahomes is permanently going to be valued. We know Herbert's going to be permanently valued. Tua is not that type of quarterback where even if he had a good year, the market's always going to be fluctuating, volatile on him. Whereas with Herbert, he's in his downstretch right now, straight up.
I agree with you. He was
the 103 in startups 2 seasons ago.
If Justin Herbert, next year he'll be 28, Tua is the same age. If Justin Herbert finishes QB 15 in points per game, 16.8 points per game, 17.5 points per game, something like that, and Tua finishes QB 11 in points per game, stays healthy all 17 games, how far off is their dynasty value? My argument would be that Herbert would continue to slide and Tua would rise up, not astronomically, but he would rise up a little bit.
The market will not let Justin Herbert fall outside of the top 25 picks in most drafts. Even though we don't have him ranked there, every draft you see, I mean, in expert leagues I've been in, he goes in the mid-second round. Like, people will still be willing to take Herbert high. And because of that, because he's Justin Herbert, he's just such a stable asset, knowing that realistically, even if he tore his ACL this year, Justin Herbert's not going to fall in value. You know that.
No, I get it.
Like, it's challenging for me because I'm
okay with this package. Again, the early to mid second, I think it makes it a little bit because I think, relatively speaking, it doesn't wash Chuba Hubbard out of the equation.
Tyreek's worth an early to mid-second. You're not accepting Tua Tagovailoa and Chuba Hubbard for Justin Herbert.
No, I'm not. You're right. It's close, but I don't think this trade is that far off, to be honest with you. If you wipe the second out of this trade and take the fourth off of your side, I would do it.
I wouldn't.
Okay. We're going to disagree on it again. I think, generally speaking, the asset Justin Herbert is overvalued. I've talked about it for a long time. If you just think about
you don't have to
not what Justin Herbert is, but what he's going to actually provide you, I probably wouldn't do it.
Sure, but what if there's a stretch where he's the quarterback 3?
Herbert is QB3 as well.
Yeah, no, and that's fair, but I wouldn't just sell off Herbert just to sell off Herbert. Like I said, just because you have 3 good quarterbacks doesn't mean you have to be like if you're selling Herbert, you have to have a deal that you feel completely confident in doing. And in fact, I would rather use Herbert as a leverage piece to move up that running back or wide receiver if he's your quarterback 3 than I would sell him for a worse quarterback 3 and parts that realistically, like, you're not getting a first on the open market for Tyreek Hill. You're not getting a first on the open market for Chuba Hubbard. It's just not happening.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Again, in a best ball format too, Herbert being your QB3 is not the worst thing because you'll just get his best performances then at
You're
that
on the
point.
clock, by the way.
But yeah, I'm on the clock, you said?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I'll make my pick in a little bit here. So, but anyways, that was an interesting discussion. We can probably move on to the next one here. Josh Allen alert here. Caleb, a projected early to mid first next year. Romo Dunze and Josh Downs for the granddaddy of them all as far as the best asset in Dynasty Superflex startups. Now,
10 teams start 9 is still Allen.
I'm intrigued, but I'd probably pass on this.
It's a very interesting offer. If this was a 12-team start 12, I actually probably take it. But in a 10-team start 9, you just take Allen.
Yeah. Also, I don't think you're talking about this channel, brother, because you ain't going to find a drum beater harder on Bo Nix than I was last year.
Also, why is it the hate on Oregon quarterbacks? Like,
yeah, I don't know why we rubbed Bo Nix into that, brother. Like, I was big Bo Nix guy. I had Bo Nix ranked ahead of Jaden Daniels before the draft as far as a prospect.
Dude, fuck, like,
which is not a brag, but because obviously Jaden's a beast, but that's how high I was on Bo Nix.
Dude, if you're mad at us for hating on Dylan Gabriel, okay, fair enough. We'll eat that. Like, we don't like Dylan Gabriel.
This is how I view this trade as well. If you got another first in this, I would do it.
In the Caleb
in this trade, if you're selling Allen for this and you got another first involved in the trade.
Yeah. He also says, I see y'all not naming names of the other providers. Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. Trust me, I see some shit that obviously I can't fucking name shame somebody on the channel, but like, holy fuck, there will be some takes I see on Twitter, some takes I see on YouTube, and I'll just be like, what the actual fuck is going on? And I'm sure you can relate to that, Corey. Obviously, again, we're not going to fucking name people, but like, you know what I'm referencing at times. But yeah,
for sure. But yeah, we can keep going here. Brian Jones.
If you get another first, I'd be willing to do that, though.
Yes, I agree. We do have a couple more stuff to get through here. So I'm probably not going to send any more vouchers out if I didn't get you one. There's a couple Coles in the chat that are looking for vouchers. Again, Cole World said he lost his connection. Cole Sturgeon specifically. Yep. 06 is not showing up for me. So if you are Cole World no 06, I will send you a voucher, but otherwise it is not showing up for me on my end. And then there's a couple other people in the chat. You must have used a different promo code if it's not showing up for me. So Bjones said, thanks, GOAT. Greatly appreciate it. Definitely looking to compete soon. But if I should tear it down and try and build a future monster, that's fine too. Let me know what you guys think. So he's Action Blackson, number 3 here.
Let's go.
What do we got here? So Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray is the top 2 quarterbacks. It's a 2-quarterback, 12-team start, 10 PPR, half tight end premium. Gibbs and a bunch of guys at running back. But I kind of like the room that you've built out there. I have a couple teams that look the same. And then Collins, Hunter, Metcalf, McLaurin, Waddle, Adams, very good at wide receiver. Even Pearsall digs down further down the board. And then I'm fine with that at tight end all day. Kraft, Kincaid, Sinnott, Gadsden. You're going to Strange even. You're going to have somebody that emerges for you, I think. It'll probably be Kraft, but it could be Kincaid, could be Sinnott. You have no idea at that point. And then it looks like he has most of his future picks intact. It's not his own first rounder, but he does have some other guy's first rounder who's late down the board, who I'm not going to name his name.
I was just about to say that name is out of fucking pocket.
Holy this name's Christ. Out of pocket, but you could see he has, for the majority, he has a lot of good draft assets in addition to a great team. I mean, this is the type of team that if you wanted to, I necessarily don't think you need to do this, but if you wanted to send out for an Alvin Kamara or a James Conner or even an Aaron Jones or something, just to make yourself a little bit more production value asset up top, I would be comfortable doing that because this is a really good team.
Yeah, I would agree there. Like you have the shells at every position. You have Jackson, obviously Kyler. Like those are going to be your two quarterbacks in a window as the number 3 analyzed team. Obviously, you're going to need to add some production at running back, and that's something that you could potentially get into the season with. Because realistically, like I'm not feeling pressure. It's not like your team's old to the point where like, oh my god, like. I mean, obviously with Lamar and Kyler, you want to compete hard this year, but if they're trying to scam you for running back production, you can just say, hey, listen, I'm willing to wait a year, 2026, out of running back in that class. Obviously, you have that 1 and 2. We can look at Cotton's team in a second. I'm not going to say the whole name, but we can look at Cotton's team.
Let's take a look at his team. He's got good assets.
He doesn't even
mid to late pick.
He doesn't even have Cade Otton.
Yeah, that's funny. But anyways, yeah, he's got a pretty good team. I wouldn't be too worried about it being a high first. It's probably more like a mid to late first. But knowing that as well, you can use that as buying power during the season, because if the Josh Jacobs manager is having a bad year, you could go and send that pick away for Josh Jacobs. If the JT manager is having a bad year, you send that pick for Jonathan Taylor. Maybe Judkins or Trevion Henderson gets out to a slow start, and you can go and send that mid to late first out of next year's class for one of those guys. That would definitely make some sense. Even Amari and Hampton potentially getting out to a slow start wouldn't shock any of us because of Najee Harris's presence there. It wouldn't shock me if by week 5 of next year or of this year, there's a buying window on Amari and Hampton because he's playing 30% of the snaps.
I mean, fuck. If that happens, I will have 100% ownership across my portfolio.
Yeah, there's a couple guys that I just didn't get enough of in rookie drafts that I'm hoping I can get buying windows for, and Hampton is one of them because I wanted to get more of him in rookie drafts, and I didn't really get a whole lot of him. So I'm hoping we don't get him starting gangbusters at the beginning of the year. Otherwise, I'm never going to get him.
On the flip side of that, though, Corey, if he gets the workload right away, he's going to be untouchable.
Yeah. Also, Chard Chuck, do you want a trade review voucher or a team review voucher? Because you said this trade shows how hard it is, but I can send you a team review voucher. And then that will be, unfortunately, the last voucher that I send out because I've already sent out like 6 or 7 so far. But anyways, yeah, this team, any other thoughts on it other than, yeah, maybe strike when the iron's hot on a running back potentially? He said running backs are hard to come by. Should I send a receiver for Chase Brown? I've talked to his owner and he's amenable to trading him. Yeah, I mean, if you can get Chase Brown for Jalen Waddle or Terry McLaurin, like all day.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you have to add a little piece of Terry McLaurin, but
I'd even be willing to give Metcalf as your 3rd highest ranked receiver. But McLaurin to me is kind of like a sell high at the moment anyways. I would say he's probably the guy that I would be looking to sell.
Fucking Ricky Pearsall, he's getting buzzed too. I think that's reasonable. Although I will say, I think you're too low on your rankings right now, but
yeah, I mean, well, like looking at his redraft projections of his guys, who has the worst redraft projection here to me is probably Jalen Waddle, I would imagine, right? So Jalen Waddle would be the guy because Adams is going to go high in redraft.
Yeah, I mean, Waddle has a better projection than Pearsall, I think, this year.
Right, but Waddle is worth more, is what I'm saying.
Oh, right, yeah, fair.
Like Waddle gets you to Chase Brown. I don't know if Pearsall necessarily would get you there. Maybe if it does, obviously sell Pearsall instead, but I think Waddle probably gets you close to Chase Brown, relatively speaking.
I will say one thing, though. This move today indicates that we're probably going to see a lot closer of the past few years prior to the last half season Miami offense, as opposed to the dump off screen machine merchant offense that we saw in the back half of the year. I'm very curious how much of a bounce back we're in store for Waddle, because if it's just going to be him, Tyreek, and Devon Achane in the passing game, there's upside for that to be one of the most concentrated offenses in the league. Like 90% of their offensive production might fluctuate between 3 players.
Brother, after today's news of Jonnu Smith leaving, I might put Devon Achane as my 7th overall player in redraft.
I don't blame that. So I had Waddle at wide receiver 33, and I'm looking at my dynasty rankings right now, and I think that's too low. With no Jonnu there, I think I'm going to be moving him to like 27, 28.
Yeah, see, on the trade targets by position, I talked about Waddle as a sell because it's only because I think people think Waddle's a lot younger than he is. Like he's already 27 years old. And for example, Jerry Jeudy is younger than him, more productive, at least projects better in terms of his redraft ADP than him. And he's like 10, 15 spots lower in dynasty wide receiver rankings. So to me, I think Waddle's a little bit mispriced to some degree. And now that you have a selling window for sure, I think it would definitely make some sense.
Yeah, he's challenging. There's a whole cluster, like 10 receivers in the same fucking tier.
This guy says, take a look at Sean Greenan's team for a laugh. Is that this guy's team? I don't know exactly. I don't see a guy by that username.
What the fuck is that?
That's pretty garbage. But I don't see a guy by that username unless I'm baked here.
Has to be that guy.
Yeah.
Shabuzi.
Oh, right here. There we go. I'm blind. There we go. I found it. His
Oh,
team
he's
is
got all the
terrible, but he
picks.
has just an insane amount of picks here. But they're all like, he doesn't have a lot of ones.
What the fuck?
Just a bunch of mid-round picks. But anyways, yeah.
At least he's proactive because that's quite year.
All right, let's keep going here because we only got 30 minutes left, ideally.
Good morning.
Done streaming here. And yeah, this is good shape. Again, buying windows on running backs, ideally, but the rest of your team's really, really strong. And maybe even the third quarterback potentially there. Jason Knox here says, my team has dramatically changed since my buy-sell hold report at the beginning of the year and the rookie draft as well. Thoughts on moves to make? Would like a third quarterback, kind of stopgap guy. And he said, but
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Daniel Jones is my go-to favorite third quarterback because of what he represents in terms of value accumulation in addition to being actually usable if he starts. But the team at the bottom of the analyzer is in Delulu land, thinking he can compete and won't trade them. So that's kind of unfortunate that you're looking for a third quarterback and that's the case. But I mean, it's a 10-team league. Third quarterback shouldn't be very difficult to come by. Buffering is the name of his team. So, I mean, he's in really good shape at the top here. Doesn't have his one next year. But, I mean, you're going to be very competitive between Barkley, Jacobs, Hampton, Neighbors, St. Brown, Tet. Like, this is a really good team. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. So, it's funny that you're going, I need a third quarterback. Well, it's like, it's also the only friggin' weakness on your team. So, it kind of makes sense. And even Flacco and Rattler might give you weeks. Like, you might be able to use them in a pinch if you had to when someone's on bye.
Go send your 2 for Geno Smith.
Yeah, a 2 for Geno Smith. A 2 for Daniel Jones. Like, that's what I would be looking to do.
I don't think I'd give quite a 2 for Daniel Jones.
Matthew
but
Stafford.
Yeah. See, Daniel Jones, I'd have a little bit more pause on to give a 2 because he's not even confirmed that he's going to start week 1. Whereas I feel very confident, obviously, with Geno Smith and Matthew Stafford doing that, and specifically for a productive stopgap. The security of having that starting job with 2 quarterbacks realistically that, I mean, like Geno Smith, like, I don't think the public realizes how good he's actually been playing these last couple of years.
I'm sick of the Geno.
He's good, man.
No one realizes how good Geno is. Dude, everybody talks about it all the time. He's not underrated if everybody's talking about this.
He's underrated because a lot of casuals look at the counting stats and think he sucks.
Okay. But every like hipster,
that's one way to call it.
Every hipster NFL analyst goes, dude, you guys realize how good Geno Smith is? Like every single person talks about it. To me, it's like, yes, the casuals don't get it, but
I know why you're saying that because how many Yahoo fucking quarterback rankings lists he was like quarterback 8, quarterback 9, quarterback 10 on like people's lists.
Yeah.
It's like, I wouldn't go that crazy, but
dude,
like
people go nuts with Geno Smith, man.
Hey, but like, I think he's very clearly top 15. Like some people think he's like, oh, is he for top 20? It's like, give me a fucking break. He's at least top 15.
Yeah. Top 15 is a stretch because if you actually rank the 15 quarterbacks, there's no way you'd put him that high. Otherwise, you're putting him over friggin' Baker and Brock Purdy, which is not true.
I mean, no, after those guys, but he's very clearly in that range.
I'm telling you, if you listed all the quarterbacks, you'd be like, it's hard to put Geno higher than like 18, 19, as much as you like Geno.
I've done it before.
Okay. I can't get there. But anyways.
You will.
Unless you're going to put Caleb at like 25. It's not going to happen.
I mean, he's not better than Geno right now today.
Right, but if you're factoring in a QB list of like who would you take kind of thing.
Well, we've had this argument before.
That's how I rank quarterbacks because that's how you have to rank them.
You tried to tell me Stroud was better than Dak last year. I
would still rather have CJ Stroud.
That's not the question. Yeah,
that's how I rank them.
When one's 32 and one's 23, I'd assume so.
But it's never.
That doesn't matter. Like when I ask
scenario doesn't exist.
When I tell you rank. What do you mean it doesn't exist? And if I'm entering a season, it's like which 10 quarterbacks would I take to lead my team that season?
But that's not how you build a team. The only real scenario
building a team is not the question. But like building the team is not the question. The question
is who's better. That's your
question. The question is who are the 10 best quarterbacks in the league? If you had one season to compete, it's not who's going to be better in 3 years.
Well, it's not that necessarily. It's that if one guy, for example, if I think 2 guys are similar talent level and one guy is 24 and one guy is 31, I'm probably going to assume said 24-year-old could get a little bit better and said 31-year-old could get a little bit worse potentially. That's how I factor in it. It's not necessarily like I'm going to expect this guy to get miles better than he actually is. It's just factoring in that maybe he gets a little bit better still.
You know, my answer to that is once they get better, then we can rank them there. But why do we have to do that before it happens?
Ratings work.
But
like rank DeAndre Hopkins is a 96 overall still.
If I ask you for your 10 best quarterbacks in the league, I don't fucking care what their 12 months. Let's look into the future and see where they could be. It's like, no, it's like today you have to go into the season. How would you rank it?
Yeah, again, I want to rank them how I want to rank them, which is that I factor in young guys getting better, old guys falling off, which is, to me, you have to do that because
But
they
like,
could have those things could happen.
But like when you say a quarterback that's coming off a number 2 MVP, it's like, oh, but he's like 31, like he's gonna fall off. It's like,
just say what you want to say, Danny. That I hate Dak.
No, it's not even that. It's just like I just don't understand the rationale for how you rank, because it's like, if I'm asking you for your quarterback list today, I don't care what your quarterback list is going to be.
Let me farm this to the chat here. Let me farm this to the chat. Regardless of what you think of these two players, just keep this in mind.
Yeah.
When you're ranking, say, CJ Stroud versus Dak Prescott, is it just who's better right now? Or do you factor in that maybe Stroud is still an ascending player? To me, I factor in that maybe Stroud is still an ascending player. Again, don't think about
why not rank him above Dak once he's better than Dak? Like, why do you have to like overthink it?
Well, because I don't know. I don't know if he's 100% better than Dak. To me, they're like same tier, and one guy could still be getting better, which is why I favor the young guy.
If that's the case, hey, who's better, Lamar Jackson or Jaden Daniels? Well, Jaden Daniels is younger. What if he's better than Lamar Jackson? You know what I mean?
Lamar is like an established elite quarterback. It's not really the same comp.
But like tier-wise, it is the same comp, because it's like people are saying Jaden Daniels could be the next superstar. Well, guess what? Hey, he's 24 years old. Is he going to be better than Lamar next year?
Pete, we're just talking strictly NFL. Strictly NFL, not fantasy. Just CJ Stroud or Dak Prescott, who's the better quarterback? The way that Danny answers that question is who's better right now, and if Stroud becomes better, then I'll put him over Dak Prescott. The way I answer that question is that if it's a young guy versus a veteran guy, I would say, okay, they're probably close. I'll favor the young guy.
I don't get that, because realistically, just judge it based off what we know right now.
Like, but do you not agree that they're close?
Right now, I think Dak is a very superior quarterback.
Okay. I think they're close. I think that, Dak is probably a little bit better right now, but I think it's pretty close. So I would prefer Stroud.
But if that's the case, if Stroud were to prove himself, why not just like say, okay, he's proven himself, now I can rank him here?
Because for example, a reactive list rather than a projection.
That's how it should be, though. It's not a projection.
If you want to do it reactive, that's fine. I think it makes sense to rank NFL quarterbacks and kind of slot them based on what we know they are for starters. Obviously, that's like 80% of the equation. But then also, if they're young, like maybe what they can become. Because then otherwise, you're never going to have a rankings list that has young players ranked accurately. They're just going to be, we don't know what to do with Michael Penix, so we'll just throw him.
I just disagree with that concept, because I think you should rank quarterbacks based off their track record going into that upcoming season if you needed them for one season. Because otherwise, it's like, is Caleb Williams the 7th best quarterback in the league? What if he's there after the year? Like there's just too much. Why would we try to predict it? Just like react to it after it happens. Like Caleb Williams was a top 10 quarterback.
Well, where is Caleb Williams rank right now in the NFL among quarterbacks?
Off of his rookie season, he wasn't a top 20 quarterback.
Okay.
But if we're baking in what they could be, he might be quarterback 6, quarterback 7 in the league. Like, because there's like so much uncertainty with young guys, once they do it, I will give them their flowers. But until they do it, I'm not going to rank based off what I think they could be, because otherwise, Drake May, Caleb Williams, I would have as a top 5 to 8 quarterbacks in the league, you know?
Right. Yeah. Again, I think the last thing I'll say about this, and then we'll keep going, is, for example, Michael Penix, the way I would rank him, because he's impossible to rank because we don't have much tape on the guy, is I think his ceiling is about the best of what Tua does. And then I think his floor is probably like on the like Geno-ish area. So I would probably rank him somewhere in that vicinity, in the middle of that, knowing that I don't know what his range of outcomes is yet. That's how I would rank Michael Penix. I think it's a cop-out to be like, here's the quarterbacks ranked in the NFL, and this is the tier that says, I don't know what to do with them yet. It's like, well, you got to rank those guys.
So Cole, the problem with that is we're not playing a Madden fantasy draft where it's like, if I can get, hey, guess what? In 8 years, CJ's going to be the same age as Zach. Like, no, it's like, if I'm going into a season, that's how I rank quarterbacks. Otherwise, it's like, hey, when Peyton Manning was retiring, would you take Peyton Manning in 2015, or would you take fucking insert rookie quarterback then? You know what I mean? Like, to me, it doesn't make sense, like, forecasting it. Just let it happen. Let it play out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, we can move off of this discussion because I don't feel like talking about it anymore. Anyways, this team, very good. Let's just put it that way. This team is very good. Quarterback 3 is the only need that Jason kind of details here. How would you address going about quarterback 3 with this team? Because I think we can both agree that the rest of the team is dominant.
Yeah, I mean, very clearly quarterback 3. Let's patch it together. Geno Smith, 2nd round pick. Lock it in. That'd be great. I think I'd be willing to give up a 2 for Darnold. He's got some security on his contract. And if you wanted a quarterback 3, a late 2 projection with this team, in my opinion, like, you get a quarterback 3 on this. Even if you don't get a quarterback 3, you're probably 210 to 212 is what you're giving up.
Yeah. Would you be at all interested in going for a QB2 upgrade and a quarterback 3 in the same package? Like this guy, for example, has CJ Stroud and Tua Tagovailoa. You could maybe take Justin Herbert plus, I don't know, this guy can maybe use a wide receiver of some kind. Maybe you give him Justin Herbert, say Flowers and a piece or something like that. And he gives you CJ Stroud, Tua Tagovailoa.
I just don't view it as a tier upgrade.
Okay. Well, again, I'm just using him as an example. Could
yeah.
be
Okay. Fair.
Okay, Kyler,
same
Bo
tier.
Nix, Bryce Young, maybe you could go Bo Nix, Bryce Young.
I'd be more willing to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. That was just my thought that maybe you could go after a guy like that. You could go after, like, I also don't hate the idea of straight up just going after JJ McCarthy, for example.
What?
You just traded him Stroud for May straight up. Jason, we're currently doing your team review right now. Are you? I just traded him. Oh, like, don't know if he would float it back. Okay, so you got May from him. I see. Okay, now I see what's going on.
Hey, Bush, give me one of these.
That's free cash. That's
free cash, baby.
Yeah, going after McCarthy would be interesting, but this guy's name is JJ's Disciples, so maybe he's just really high on McCarthy. That would be the only thing that I would say. McCarthy is an interesting QB3 for sure.
Cole, this is how I do it. You're a head coach, GM. You need to get the best quarterback to win that year. How are you going to rank it? That is how I rank quarterbacks. Because like at the end of the day, like
even in that 1 year sample, you can factor in that players get better. Like even in a 1 year sample right now, we're factoring in that Trevor Lawrence can get better under Liam Cohen.
Sure, but instead of factoring who can get better, or I can just take the guy that was literally second in MVP voting 2 years ago, like just specifically in the conversation we're having.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean?
Like,
again,
it's like
to me, they're the same caliber quarterback, but one guy can still get better. That's why I favor Stroud.
Dak's a better quarterback, but that's fine. It's like, you get the mystery package here. It could be a boat, or you have the boat already.
CJ Stroud was just as good in 2023 as Dak was. Maybe a little bit worse, but when you factor in one was a rookie, it's a comparable conversation.
You're saying rookie Stroud had a comparable year to 2023 Dak?
Yeah.
Are you on Jupiter?
Given that one was 30.
No. It doesn't. We're not talking about age. We're talking about season for season. Objectively speaking, you think Stroud had a comparable season to Dak?
Is how I answer the question.
That's not the answer. Hey, if you were a GM and you had to take a quarterback for the 2023 season, you think what CJ Stroud did in 2023 was as comparable to what Dak did in 2023?
No, but that's not how I answer the question.
But that is literally what Cole said. Do or die 1 year. Who are you taking that year? You would take CJ Stroud's 2023 year over Dak's 2023 year based on this terminology.
No, I wouldn't. That's not how I answer the question, as we've talked about many times.
Well, you answered the question wrong then, because that was literally the question.
I answer the question, who's the best quarterback in the league based on veterans. I give them what they are. Young guys, if they have a chance to still get better, I factor that in. That's how I answer the question.
In the context of this specific structure, what's your answer? I want to hear you say it.
In the context of this specific structure, do or die 1 year
going into the 2023 season, who would you have taken? CJ Stroud or Dak Prescott? CJ
Stroud was a rookie, so
no. I'm saying with hindsight bias, knowing what they did in those years.
I would take Dak Prescott in that season. Yes.
Also, are you baked? Have you seen the supporting cast that Dak's had over the last couple of years?
Anyways, we are not doing this anymore. I'm done with this conversation. Anyways, let's get through these teams. This team is goated. We can move on to the next one. Go get Stafford. Go get Geno Smith. We got to stay on track.
Yeah, we're chilling.
All right, threaded. Next team that we got here. Thanks, guys. Last year was my first Dynasty League ever. Flock site shows me as a top 3 team. So you're brilliant. Unfortunately, there is a team that is pretty monstrous ahead of you. He said, I'm weak at running back, and the worst team in the league has Saquon. Would you make offers there? Yeah, I mean, if you're a competitive team, which we'll get here. Would you offer a haul for someone like Bijan? Any suggestions, moves would be greatly appreciated. So let's focus on some running back stuff, because that's basically what he asked about here. The shell of this team is very strong. I mean, wide receiver, you're smidge weak behind your top 3 guys, but between Ridley and Higgins, I feel like I can definitely get by. Let's talk about what it would look like going after a guy like Bijan or Saquon or something like that, because that's kind of what your main move that you're suggesting is. And I do think it would make sense to go after somebody like that, given your team.
I mean, the advantage at tight end, you got obviously McBride. I mean, you're factoring probably a tight end, someone at the tight end position that can get you 95 receptions, 1,200 yards, and maybe he sees more touchdown equity this year if he gets you 7 or 8 touchdowns, because he hasn't really been a touchdown guy at this point in his career. But guess what? Trey McBride is 6'5", 250 pounds, and moves the way he does. I don't feel comfortable projecting him to score 2 touchdowns again this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, exactly. So, I mean, this guy is Barkley. This is what he's asking. What are we offering for Saquon? I mean, the easy answer is you give your you give your 1 and 2 plus a young piece, probably, right?
Yeah, I mean, also the guy's wide receiver 1 is Jalen Waddle right now. Can you take Jaden Higgins and add a 1 to him for Saquon Barkley?
You're not going to get Saquon for that. I don't think so.
You just said offer Saquon a 1 and a 2 for him.
I said 1, a 2 plus a small piece for Saquon Barkley. So maybe Jaden Higgins a 1 and a 2 would get you near Saquon. Sorry, I thought you said Jaden Higgins plus a 1 gets you Saquon.
Yeah. Well, you said a 1 and a 2.
Give him a 2 as well.
I was just saying it because Jaden Higgins was like an early to mid 2 this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you could just get if you could just trade Jaden Higgins and a 1 for Saquon, that's a very, very easy trade.
You throw in a 2, sure.
Yeah, I think you'd probably have to throw in a 2. I don't know necessarily if you're going to get near Bjones unless you do like a St. Brown plus for Bjones and a wide receiver back, maybe. Let's take a look at who has Bjones here. Bjones going to be on one of the best teams because I have him ranked RB1.
Bijan Robinson.
And you're not going to get... Oh, no, never mind. It's not on this team. Where is Bjones? Where are you?
Unless he's like the only
not on one of the top teams because I have him ranked RB1. There he is. Okay.
There he is.
So Bjones is the guy that you said that you'd also be interested in going after. I mean, you're not getting anywhere near Bjones for a 1 and a 2. You're going to have to give up more than that for Bijan Robinson. Would you be willing to do in his situation of what he's got built up at wide receiver? Would you be willing to do like an Amon-Ra kind of Bijan swap and get a wide receiver back kind of thing? Like, let's say you did a Amon-Ra on a 1 for Bijan and Metcalf or something. Would you be interested?
Not giving a 1 on top of that. No. I would rather
probably. I mean, I swapped Amon-Ra for Bijan straight in one league earlier this year.
Yeah, I'm not adding a 1. I'm not adding a 1. That defeats the purpose. Can I get there instead of a 1? Can it be Bjones plus Pickens for Amon-Ra and a different piece?
Okay. What if you do T Higgins and a 1 for Bjones?
Yeah, I'd be willing to with that.
Yeah. The only problem then, though, is that you're kind of shortchanged at wide receiver if you trade Higgins.
Yeah, like realistically, I say Amon-Ra plus Harvey for Pickens and Bjones, and maybe you have to throw in another piece. Let's just say a couple 2s if it had to. Like I would do.
I think Amon-Ra. To be honest with you, I think Amon-Ra and Harvey for Bjones and Pickens is give or take fair value. Like, if
I feel like but that's what I mean. I feel like you'd be getting the better asset in both ends. Bjones over Amon-Ra, Pickens over Harvey. So at that point, like if you had to throw in a 2 and a 3, if you had to throw in a 2, like maybe he says, 2's not quite enough. You add a 3 to it. That's not enough. Maybe you add 2 2s and he throws you back a 3. Like play around with it, see what he's looking for. But realistically, if you're able to still get Pickens back to supplement your wide receiver production, but getting that upgrade from Harvey to Bjones is going to be massive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot you can kind of do with the running back position. I personally, I get you want a hammer at the running back position. You probably need a hammer at the running back position. I'm not opposed if you can find a good deal on a veteran running back, like you kind of made reference to there, going after Saquon, going after Christian McCaffrey, going after
McCaffrey's the big one for me.
Yeah, going after even like a Kamara or something like that. I would imagine that this guy, this guy's Henry. Achane also I wouldn't be opposed to going after from this guy if he was willing to move off of him. You could maybe would you do Harvey and a 1 for Achane?
Harvey and a 1 for 8. I would need a piece back.
Okay, let's say he gives you he probably wouldn't give you Adams back straight, but
maybe you add in like a 3 and it gets you Adams in that.
Yeah, Harvey, Achane and Adams for Harvey a 1 and a 3 would be an interesting trade that you could go after. Let's find the McCaffrey here.
McCaffrey would be the one
you could go after 2 potentially.
Even Kamara.
Bucky and McCaffrey. You could go over either of those guys, to be honest.
Do you have a tight end, the tight end 2 that's worth anything? Let me take a look.
No, just K-Don.
Okay, I was gonna say if you had like a random like fucking Loveland or something, because I've seen those all stream pretty much. That would have been an easy piece to flip. But
would you give a 1 straight for McCaffrey on his team?
I would want something that's a lot more insulated for me and could potentially not kill me. So
you did this trade. Would you give a 1 and a 2 for Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel?
Yeah, I was on the flip side. I sold it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Would you, in his situation where he's at right now with his team right here, would you give up? You get Deebo as your wide receiver 4 / him and Calvin Ridley are your wide receiver 4s, and you get Christian McCaffrey as your RB1.
I think that's reasonable. I hate giving up ones for volatile assets from
So
my
do
own
I.
personal
So do I,
experience.
for what it's worth. You gotta, but like if you're gonna do it, you got to feel good about their redraft projection. And you obviously feel very good about Christian
For
McCaffrey's
sure.
redraft projection. I feel pretty good about the value you're getting on Deebo Samuel right now from a redraft standpoint.
Can
So
you
I
get
don't
it
think
with
this is a bad
Judy
offer
instead?
for sure.
Can you get it with Judy instead of Debo?
Yeah, if you could get it with Judy, that would be definitely better, I would say, because then you're getting a 27-year-old wide receiver instead of a 29-year-old wide receiver with injury issues. So that would feel a little bit better. But yeah, there's definitely some opportunities that you have here. You also have any suggestions, moves to make? Yeah, I mean,
answer them.
again, if you were going to go after the Saquon manager, I think a 1 and a 2 for Saquon would be my starting point for that offer. If he's going to be unreasonable and want 3 1s for Saquon, then there's no, because like the tough thing about Saquon is while I think his value is probably 2 1s to a contender, you're in a position where if you give up 2 1s, you're going to have a little bit of an aging wide receiver core behind your top 2 guys that I don't necessarily want like a dead asset Saquon who lost 50% of his value in a calendar year. Like, it almost actually makes sense to me because you have some young running backs to even potentially go after a guy who hasn't broken out yet. You know what I mean? Like if you went after Judkins and gave up a 1 and a 2 for Judkins, that would actually make a lot of sense to me as well.
Sorry, I just checked Twitter, but there's a lot of smoke right now about the Habs trading for Jordan Kyrou. So we'll take that. Sorry. Had to interject because I know you know hockey.
I do, yes. But yeah, I don't know. Going after a young running back also makes sense. Like I said, Achane, Bucky, maybe one of the rookies, Hampton, Henderson, Judkins also makes sense to this team. It doesn't necessarily have to be go all in for Christian McCaffrey, go all in for Saquon Barkley. Getting a young running back and really hitting on that asset would go a long way for this team as well.
Also, Arthur, I mean, I agree, which is why I say if you're going to go after older assets like a McCaffrey, like guys like that, like if I'm giving up my 1 and a 2, hypothetically, like I need to make sure I'm getting enough production to make it feel worthy, because you're not wrong in the sense that like realistically in most situations, like I'm willing to give up multiple 1s for needle moving assets in terms of like needle moving dynasty assets. Obviously production asset, Christian McCaffrey's a needle mover, but because of his age complex, because of I would say the illiquid trade interest you should be able to get for him if you needed to move off of him. Like he's a very illiquid asset because only maybe 3 teams in your league at a time are going to be interested in dealing for him if push comes to shove and your season didn't go the way you expected. However, like I said, if it was a 1 and 2 for McCaffrey and Judy, I feel like I'm getting a discount on Judy. I feel like, okay, if my team's competing, maybe it's a 112 or 110 to 112 I'm willing to give up for McCaffrey. Like that would be the type of deal I'd feel satisfied with. But would I feel over the moon about it? Probably not. Even if I got a good value.
Just philosophically, you and I are much more likely to just
very hesitant
take the swing on like Henderson or Judkins really smashing in terms of production value than we are to just sacrifice the old player losing value for the pick capital. Because we're like, damn, if I just like it part of it stems from the fact that you and I know that we can draft good players, right? So like giving up draft picks. Like, for example, if you guys think about the actual NFL, do you think Howie Roseman likes giving away draft picks? Do you think Jason Light likes giving away draft picks? Like, it's much more likely that they're going to hit on a draft pick than the average replacement level GM. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I feel like it's hard to give up draft picks for me, is because I want to get a player who I think can feel, better about acquiring than just sacrificing a draft asset.
Also, by the way, real smoke right now about TJ Watt getting dealt, according to Adam Schefter.
That doesn't make any sense if they just traded for Jalen Ramsey.
Multiple teams have been discussing whether they can trade for for TJ Watt, who skipped the most recent minicamp.
Yeah, I would give, if I was Jason Light, I would give 2 first rounders for TJ Watt.
Very comfortably in your guys.
Dude, if we got TJ Watt, our defense is looking pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie.
Is edge still like your clear main weakness left?
Depending on how Hassan Reddick looks this year, yeah.
Okay. So like
if we had Reddick and Diaby and some of our replacement Braswell and some of those other guys behind a TJ Watt type or a Max Crosby type or a Myles Garrett type, then yeah, we would be in very good shape up front.
Yeah.
Imagine TJ Watt has never had Vita Vea like nose tackle commanding attention on. Like, I mean, Cam Hayward's can command attention as well. But dude, Vea commanding attention, Cansey with his speed, Reddick with his pass rush ability, and TJ Watt, that would be insane. That would be really good. But anyways, let's move on.
It's clear what the structure of your guys' defense would be. Is let's score some points on offense and pin our ears back.
Oh yeah, and all of our corners and safeties are like ball hawking players, not lockdown players.
You guys are building the Dan Quinn structure.
Yeah, like the corner we drafted out of Notre Dame had like 6 interceptions his freshman season.
Well, Ben Morrison, right?
Yeah. Like he's not going to lock people down. He's going to get balls.
He only fell because he had knee issues, right?
Yeah, he had a couple of injuries in college.
Like I want to say it was
he broke his ankle, I think, his freshman year, and then I think it was his
patellotendinitis. I think.
Yeah,
right?
I think it was patellotendinitis his junior year.
Which I had patellotendinitis. Literally, all I did when I played was I had like this special, like it's like a black strap with Velcro on it, and basically what it does is you tie it around your knee, and it holds the actual like kneecap in place. Because you know what patellotendinitis basically does? It just like makes your kneecap feel loose.
Yeah.
But
I know who else was the other person that had this? I can't remember. Somebody else had it last year that I'm forgetting.
I forget which player, but yeah, we'll keep ripping through reviews, little tangents, you know.
All right, let's get into Jaceplant's trade questions here. He says, how did we do, boys? He got Brian Thomas and the rookie 111 in exchange for the rookie 110, which relatively speaking is probably going to be the same territory of player. And Jonathan Taylor, Brandon Ayuk on the other side of it. So, I mean,
give me BTJ every single time and twice on Sundays.
This is probably the difference between the 2 tight ends in terms of rookie pick capital or golden. Like you're getting, instead of getting your first choice of that tier, you're getting your second choice of that tier. Bush. I guess the only way you get screwed here is that if Judkins or Egbuka fell to 110.
Bush, we can shave the 111 off the BTJ side and it's still very comfortably BTJ.
Yeah, realistically. Yeah.
It's just how it is. I'm sorry, like we like Brandon Ayuk, but I mean we had this discussion.
I mean, I love Brandon Ayuk a lot more than you do, but he ain't get like if I can cash him and JT into BTJ, I'm doing it every single time.
For sure. Yeah. Go how do we do? You did phenomenal. A+++++.
There you go. Arthur said you should do a season-long betting show, Super Bowl odds to miss playoffs, win over unders. Yeah, we don't really bet. I don't really bet on season-long stuff that much, so I'm not like super good doing it, but we'll definitely cover some pick and projections on Underdog and whatnot.
Yeah, like I mean, we've talked about it before, but like eventually, I mean, we'll have this discussions privately, but we're just determining whether it makes sense to have like a Dynasty FSE and like different like branches. We're still figuring it out. I mean, I'm actually curious, like, what are your guys' opinions on that? Like, do you guys like everything being centralized on just Fantasy Stock Exchange, or would you want that in the future? Like, we are curious. We've been wondering.
Yeah, so I was on the channel with why is this blanking my name? Andrew, the League FFB. I was on with him, and we were talking once the cameras went off. We were talking about branching out and switching because he has just one channel as well. He's just he does Dynasty and redraft content on one channel, and he's one of the only guys that does that because you and I are now kind of in the minority of like the land guys have different channels. The domain guys have different channels. Mason has different channels. Ron recently branched out and now has different channels for the two. I kind of like the centralized channel too. Like that's the way I look at it. If I was subscribed to our channel as like a listener of ours, I'd rather just see it all in one. I get the benefit from the YouTube angle of things that when you just put out Dynasty content, your Dynasty content only hits the For You page of Dynasty players. And if you're a redraft channel also, then it gets a little bit muddied up in terms of who's clicking on it. And that makes your videos do worse in the algorithm and stuff. But I don't really care that much. I just want to make sure that you guys who follow us get our content all in one place.
Well, and again, that's what we've talked about. So I think obviously like the diehards that are here for every stream, that are here for every video, that watch both Dynasty and Redraft, like you guys are going to want it on a centralized. But I am curious if people only watch us for Dynasty, if people only watch us for Redraft, like maybe like they would be interested in that. But like you said, like the people that are literally in the stream right now, the people that are submitting teams to us, like you guys play both Dynasty and Redraft, you're probably going to just want to be able to get one click off.
Yeah, and like Mike says, I watch the domain boys a lot and never get the redraft stuff put in my algo. That's the other thing too, is like I've seen since Ron has split his 2 channels, people are like, hey, are you just like not making Dynasty content anymore? Like you can put out the message a million freaking times and tell people it's on 2 channels now and people will still miss it. Like, that's why I'm like, let's just keep it where it is. Like, it means that in the Dynasty time of the offseason, we put out more Dynasty content. In the redraft time of the offseason, we put out more redraft content. But we will be sure to service both sides.
And who knows, maybe this time next year we get an update. Hey, YouTube has changed how their algorithm works. And like now, like they're not going to punish like having variety on your channel. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's
not to mention there's a period where you split it, where you're going to lose viewership because you're on a smaller channel. And does the difference of, your impression click-through rate is higher on that smaller channel, does it make up losing out on the fact that we have an established channel that has viewers on it already versus, on a smaller one? But again, if you do it from the beginning, like the domain and the land guys did it, I think that's the way to go about it. But when we're established already, that's something we're probably not going to end up doing. The only time it really makes sense, I think, is when you're starting out and you split them immediately.
It's more so just like an interesting conversation, because I'm sure if people are watching us, they probably watch, Ron, they probably watch, Mason, etc., domain guys, etc., that have split. And I am just curious, like which format they kind of preferred, but it does seem like they're ripping.
And this is my opinion on it too, Jason. If I was a follower of our channel, we weren't the ones making the content, as long as I know what I'm clicking on, I'm fine with it. Like if it says Dynasty trade targets on it, I know that's a Dynasty video. If it says we rate your Dynasty fantasy football teams, the title of this video, I know that's not a redraft video. If it says 2025 fantasy football draft, I would assume that's a redraft video. You know what I mean? Like, I think I can kind of, and from the thumbnail and the title and the description, glean from the context what the video is about. So that's my opinion on it. But anyways, let's talk about Suplad's team here.
Hey,
shout out.
The lad
started the league last year. Not sure if I should push to compete or just stick with what I have. I've been trying to sell Gorthavius's pick.
I'm sorry. Like the first thing we got to address is he's 6,000 more than anybody else in the league.
Brag team.
Yeah.
JJ or neighbors, but he won't budge. Any other ideas for the team in general? So he's trying to sell this guy's pick. He says Gorthavius. I don't know where that guy's pick is.
Gorthavius, is that the name?
Maybe he changed his team name.
Wait, so
I don't know.
Go up. So what? Wait, go up. No. Like to his team, like the picks. I want to see the pick names. Jones or Luke's. I'm gonna assume it's probably Jones. Let's look down.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, Jones has like kind of a rebuilding team, so he's probably trying to buy his pick back.
Oh, he's trying to get Neighbors or Jefferson off of Jones to get his pick back.
I see. Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. That's a good strategy, by the way. Hold him hostage for that pick. He ain't going to want to give you those guys, but I'd say you're going to have a better time trying to get Jefferson, probably because Neighbors is young and he's going to want to rebuild around Neighbors. So I would say Jefferson is the one of the two of them that I would push more aggressively for. But you have the right idea. I mean, he ain't getting his pick back for any other asset that he's got, unless he's going to give you like multiple guys. I mean, Love would get his pick back too, but like looking at your team, you don't really need a quarterback.
Exactly.
Josh Jacobs is probably not quite enough of an asset to be able to make that move. You definitely do not need TJ Hawkinson, given the strength of the tight end core that you already have. I think you're going about it the right way. Justin Jefferson's the way that I would go about this as well.
At the end of the day, don't be nice. Don't say, you know what? Like I'm a bless you. I'll take 85% now. Like, hey, buddy, if you want your fucking pick, I'm not taking Fugaz. Let's go to his team. Let's go look to that guy.
You're treating this pick as if it's going to be Jeremiah Love. This is what you would trade Jeremiah Love for, or whatever the 101 in 2026 is going to be.
I'm not taking your shit cans. I'm not taking Isaiah Pacheco. I'm not taking Josh Jacobs. I'm not taking Jawan Jennings, Mason Taylor, TJ. I'm not taking any of that bullshit. You want your fucking pick back? We're talking a deal between Malik Neighbors. We're talking a deal between Justin Jefferson. We're talking a deal for Jordan Love. I don't give a crap about anything else. You know what you're going to do with your pick. And I know what you're going to do with your pick. As soon as you get your pick back, everything's going to be gone anyways. So why would I value it as a mid pick right now when I know inherently you're going to turn this into a top 3 pick in 2026?
Yeah. And if you want to throw me in addition to Justin Jefferson on a bigger package, Josh Jacobs or Jawan Jennings or whatever, as long as Justin Jefferson or Malik Neighbors is also in the package, we can do whatever.
You're offering me Josh Jacobs flop for your pick back. I'm going to laugh in your face and hang up the call.
Yeah, exactly. So let's come up with an idea for a trade here. Justin Jefferson. He's going to want, again, this is what we think about trade psychology here. He's going to want young players or picks only. He ain't going to want anything else. So I'm looking at Colson Loveland.
Yeah.
Because you have Trey McBride and he's going to be in a position where he does. I mean, he has TJ Hawkinson. So maybe he's thinking I'm good at tight end or whatever. Go ahead.
Got an idea here. Loveland, 2 of those ones. And we'll throw in a fucking another piece here. What is
Tootin?
Tootin, yeah. The Loveland 2 ones Tootin for Justin Jefferson and Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, that makes some sense.
I think that's very fair because, like, I mean, realistically, like we said, Jefferson, let's say 3.5 ones. That would be roughly. I mean, what do we say? Loveland 2 ones and Tootin. Justin Jefferson's probably worth at least Loveland.
I'd say Loveland and the really high first round pick gets you in the vicinity of Justin Jefferson. And then the Tootin and the other one is probably about going to make up that difference plus get you Josh Jacobs. So I think that's probably a fair deal, like you said. And with Jacobs and Jefferson, you're going to be a clear, just absolute monster of a team here. And like, you don't really have a lot of competitive running backs right now, but Jacobs is probably going to be another two solid years of great production for you.
Yeah, no, I'd agree there. Overall, I mean, very clearly, you've done a great job. The Flock Analyzer absolutely loves the job that you've been doing for a 12-team start 10. I mean, you're loaded across the board in terms of team value. It's about, I mean, we talk about this all the time. I mean, the Montreal Canadiens right now are a prime example in hockey. You can have as many prospects in the pool. You can have as many picks as you like. But when a guy like Noah Dobson becomes available, you throw the 16, 17 plus Heineman to go and get that deal done.
Yeah, you should sign Mitch Marner too. I would say the only thing that really stands out to me is that year one, you might not necessarily have that great of running back production. You know, you still have some young quarterbacks, still have some young wide receivers getting their sea legs under them, but like you're still probably going to be a positive record by week 8 and then ready to really make a championship push down the stretch of the season. So ideally, you want to probably keep some of your picks for liquidity to move in season, because you and I both have seen this many times. Some teams think they're competitive. By week 9, they're like, I have to sell players off. And you having 3 ones of liquidity, or let's say you make the Jefferson deal, you only have 1 or 2 ones of liquidity left in terms of extra first rounders, because you have 5 ones over the next 2 years. You can then, when the guy who has Genty goes, or not Genty, the guy who has Bijan goes, I got to sell everybody on my team. The guy who has Gibbs goes, I got to sell everybody on my team. The guy who has CeeDee Lamb goes, I got to get younger or whatever. You can go and go after those assets with some of the picks that you have.
Yeah, for sure. But overall, I mean, obviously a great spot. Make some consolidation moves. Like I said, hey, you built your prospect pool. Now your young team showing you can compete. The Montreal Canadiens made the first round of the playoffs as a young team, and they go and get a big time right shot defenseman. Go get your right shot defenseman.
Any opportunity Danny takes to talk about one of his biased ass fucking takes, he will take.
All jokes aside, though, for the hockey watchers in here, I know you'll appreciate that. What's it called? Like not comparison. Where the analogy?
Analogy. There you go.
Analogy. There you go.
I just want to make sure we're not okay. We have more friggin' we have more team reviews coming through. It's not refreshing for me for some reason.
So full transparency. We'll probably. I mean, how much longer can we go realistically? Like I would say, like we're probably gonna do another one of these this week.
I am not gonna give another. I can't give any more vouchers. We're gonna be going for too long. If you guys pay for a team review, I promise you will get it covered today. But I cannot give any more vouchers out, unfortunately.
But whoever was looking for a voucher today, if you didn't already get one, again, we're probably going to be doing another one of these this week. And I mean, actually, I haven't.
I'm going to Cuba on Thursday. Right. So
I mean, next week, regardless. Then by next week, we'll have another one of these going. If you didn't get a voucher, just mention, hey, I was on the last stream and you said if I come back for this one, I get a voucher. Feel free to leave them. It's just unfortunately, if like 8 to 10 people are asking for vouchers right now, we can't go for 4 hours.
Yeah. So Jaceplant, Grapeapplepie, Cole World 06, and ColeWhitty, we will get to your stuff here. And then anybody who actually like buys a team review, we would absolutely get to that as well. But other than that, I'm not going to give out any more and maybe save them for the next stream. So Jaceplant, Shark Tank, another brag team on deck here. Had a startup in a home league type of dynasty. So no shock. I mean, for a home league startup coming out of it with, 3,000 extra points there right out of a startup is great. Didn't mean to draft 4 quarterbacks, but everybody was fading them, which is kind of what we talked about earlier. Some people don't understand the scoring format. You probably won't get the value that you're wanting to right after the draft, but maybe in season, people realize how those quarterbacks are worthwhile. Got Purdy and Kyler at the 7-9-8-1. That's insane. How did I do? Any moves besides getting rid of the quarterback? So obviously he knows what he's got to do with the QBs. I'd say you're going to be caught still holding them for a while now. You ain't going to get rid of them now. People got to realize what they're worth.
Question, Jace. I'm not sure if you're still in chat. Obviously you submitted 59 minutes ago. If maybe you're eating lunch at this point, maybe you went back like to work. I don't know what the case may be. Maybe you are in here. If you are in here, all I'll say is you're probably realistically your most tradable quarterback would actually be Jaden Daniels, like on the team. I'm assuming he probably went high in this league. I'm assuming you probably took him with the 3rd overall pick or whatever. I'm assuming, unless this team is league is bonkers, even the most casual of casual superflex league mates will understand Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels should be the top 3 picks. Again, let us know in the comments if that is wrong. If maybe that didn't happen in your league, feel free. But if that is the order that went and people say, hey, the elite quarterbacks we're valuing, but maybe everybody else we're punting off. I'd be able to cash in on Jaden Daniels then.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good point. I never actually thought of that because in like you said, in leagues where people don't value Superflex properly, it might be hard to sell Kyler Murray. It might be hard to sell Brock Purdy. But like you said, Jaden Daniels, those type of guys, if you can pivot Jaden Daniels into Jamar Chase plus a small, thing on top of it, that actually makes a lot of sense because inherently that Kyler Murray and Brock Purdy were undervalued in the startup and people are properly valuing Jaden Daniels.
Exactly. If you realize that there is like a big difference, like if people are willing to spend on those top guys, but Brock Purdy, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Baker Mayfield, those types like slipped a good amount, that just means that you should be insulating yourself off of those top elite quarterbacks because you might be able to get a godfather for them.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're going to be able to build your team. Like if I knew inherently that I was going to get Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott, like you said, Brock Purdy and Kyler Murray at the 7, 9, 8, 1, I probably wouldn't have drafted a quarterback high. I would have just waited until then and drafted.
And maybe he didn't know about that
instead.
And maybe he didn't realize that because he's like, okay, this is probably like a league with.
Well, when you're 103, you just take Jaden Daniels. You don't think twice about it.
Figure it out later. Yeah, and I mean, this is later.
Yeah, exactly. So that's definitely something I would explore. Obviously, building up wide receiver. My don't give a flock team kind of looks like this, where the receivers that I have at the top end are like Chris Olave types and like Downs, Jane Reed. You need like a stud, and Jaden Daniels probably the best way to get one.
Speaking of don't give a flock, that is my only ownership of Jonnu across my dynasty portfolio. The issue is I don't have any relevant tight end outside of him.
That's unfortunate. That's an unfortunate.
Unlucky. Also, I sound like I'm sick. Actually, I'm sick of success because I've been to 2 events and Optics won both of them. So maybe
there is absolutely nothing successable about going to Call of Duty events at the age of 25.
I'm sick of success. You should see the demographic at those fucking arenas, baby.
Yeah,
it's all
over under 7 boobs touched in the entire event. Oh,
dude, I don't think you realize there's a lot of like fucking like chicks that like love COD. I would honestly say like not non-biased. There's probably about 25 to 30% chicks there.
That's okay.
That's more than you expected. It's more than we get in terms of our views on the channel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. If there's a singular female in this chat right now, I would be shocked.
Oh, classic.
There you go. Danny still, after repeated reminders, has not hooked up his dummy battery yet. Also, by the way, I'm going to just show myself full screen for a second. Let me know what you guys think of this new camera. You can like literally see my friggin' fingernails on this thing, which of course nobody wants to see. So I won't show that ever again. But yeah, we got a new camera here. This is like the reason I bought this is because when we record in person, it's like a higher quality camera. But it's looking real sharp so far. And the battery's holding up, even though I don't have a dummy battery in this thing yet. So yeah. No, Danny, put a new battery in your camera. That's gross. We don't want to see that.
For a little bit, no?
No, put a new battery in your camera. That looks terrible. But anyways, we can I'll get this thing refreshed and then we'll get into the remaining things here. But yeah, what else do we got? Jaceplant. Anything else I would do with this team is probably, like you said, other than sell the quarterbacks. You literally said, I know I have to sell quarterbacks, and then we only talked about that. Nobody on your team really stands out to me as like sell high type of guys. Like Olave, I think, is properly priced. Odunze is properly priced. I mean, Downs and Olave are actually buy lows, in my opinion. Same goes for Jaden Reed and Godwin. So you have a bunch of guys that I actually feel like are buy lows. The only thing that really stands out to me about your team is getting a wide receiver hammer. And again, the only way you're probably going to be able to do that is Daniels or May, given how expensive those guys are probably going on the open market. So there's not really much else I can tell you, aside from the fact that I guess you have an extra first banked up. So if you could potentially, let's say, take Rome Odunze, who's a little bit more of a riskier projection, plus one of those first rounders, how close does that get you towards, the BTJs, the Drake Londons, maybe even higher potentially on the dynasty wide receiver market? That would make some sense as well. But for the most part, you're just going to be looking to sell those those quarterbacks and be on your merry way. So let me just make sure that this thing can actually refresh properly. And if it doesn't, I will have to refresh my actual page here. Okay, perfect. It actually did come through here. So it looks like Michael submitted a team. Appreciate that. And then Grapeapplepie also submitted a team. And then we got ColeWhitty here, ColeWhitty, and we'll be wrapping it up. So I'll do the trade question first while I'm waiting for Danny. Looks like he's got his camera sorted out here. Okay, this is an interesting discussion. I think generally speaking, this seems like a pretty easy one. I know this is not a consensus opinion. I have Xavier Worthy, 54th overall wide receiver 19 in Dynasty. Rashee Rice, Wide receiver 18 in Dynasty, 53rd overall. They are back-to-back because I'm a complete coward and I don't know how to rank these guys. I imagine most people would prefer Rice, and Danny's one of those people, a couple spots higher, I'm assuming, on wide receiver value for Rashee
Absolutely.
Rice. Yeah. So most people prefer Rice. Even in that situation, though, the absolute difference between these two guys is probably, Danny, would you take an early to mid projected second and worthy for Rashee Rice, or would you need more?
If it was a second, I think that's a fair offer. But the fact it's a first, it makes it a no-brainer.
Exactly. That was my point. So my point was, I think the difference in a vacuum is probably an early to mid second. So the fact that you're getting an early to mid first and a third back on the other side makes this one pretty easy. If the market's certain, if the guy who's buying this can be this certain that Rashee Rice is the guy that you need here, I'm going to take the insulation of value 100%. And you said this first is probably 101 to 103. Yeah, easy smash. Even if this was a mid to late one, I would say this is an easy smash, but projected early first all day and twice on Sunday there. So let's move to Grapeapplepie here. He said, just completed my first startup league. Please review Team Ed Touffet. Is this supposed to be an A-Touffet shout out? Shout out to cooking shows for knowing what an A-Touffet is, even though I dislike New Orleans with everything in my soul. Let's take a look here. We got number 5 here. Alrighty, so Bo Nix, Brock Purdy as the top quarterbacks, very kind of competitive running backs here with James Conner, Joe Mixon. You lock up the handcuff with Trey Benson, Javonte Williams. So kind of a zero RB type of build with Jamar Chase, BTJ, Travis Hunter, Mecca Egbuka, Josh Downs, Jack Besh. So you built out a young team with competitive running backs, which I think is an interesting strategy that not a lot of people really take advantage of, is knowing that you can get running backs later. Sometimes it does kind of make sense to have competitive running backs as your hammers early on in the year. And then Loveland and Kittle, I feel like we've had 46 teams get submitted today that have both George Kittle and Colston Loveland, or both Trey McBride and Colston Loveland on them. So obviously I'm going to probably tell you to maybe sell one of these tight ends. And given that you've built out kind of a young team in general, minus the running backs that you have, I think it would make sense to sell Kittle, just because I think both Danny and I are on the same page here. Kittle's going to be a monster once he's on the field producing there. What are you doing?
How did you close this?
You don't. You just have to put it on. Close it as good as you can and just put it on there. And then if you have to pivot your stand for the camera to make sure it's not crooked, that's what I ended up doing.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you could always just put in a regular battery for now and figure this out later, which is probably what I would have done. But anyways, I would get a clear direction here, because again, I get what you're doing. You're trying to stay competitive, have a good long-term future. I would probably just go into the season knowing that you've built out such a great stash of liquidity so far. Once Connor's producing, once Mixon's producing, once Kittle's producing, just sell those guys into future picks. Sell those guys into young players, and you're going to have like a monster of a team a calendar year down the road, because you have a loaded wide receiver core that are all young, 2 great quarterbacks that are young, a great young tight end, and Kittle and Connor and Mixon. We're getting to the time in the season where we're looking at those guys starting to really gain value, because as more casual fantasy players come back to the scene, as more redraft player projections come out, people are doing underdog drafts, people are mock drafting for their redraft leagues, you're going to get a really nice value on some of the Connor, Mixon, Kittle type of assets. Whereas if this was January that I was talking right now, you're not going to get good value on those type of assets. So I would pick a direction. Like I said, to me, that would be trying to sell Kittle, trying to sell Connor, trying to sell Mixon, and then going kind of like total zero RB, only young guys. If you luck into anybody, that's great. But Javonte Williams spikes during the season, I'm selling him for a second round pick. Tyler Algier gets a starting opportunity at some point. Maybe you can get anywhere close to an early second round pick for that. So that's how I would go about it. And I would want to position myself as good as I possibly can with a bunch of firsts, bunch of seconds in next year's class, because running back as it currently stands is the strength of the class. Fill out your running back core in the 2026 rookie draft, and then you're going to be on your merry way and ready to compete in 2026 as well. Because if you think about it, Colston Loveland's going to have a better projection this time next year than he does right now anyways. Chase, BTJ, Thomas, Chase, Thomas, Hunter, Egbuka, probably all going to be better projections next year anyway, minus Chase, but he's still very young. That doesn't matter. And yeah, you're going to be in really good shape there. So that's probably how I would go about it. And I think, I mean, look how close this league is, man. It's going to be hard to just be the best competitive team when everybody's this close in the startup. Like if you see those value tabs there, everybody drafted relatively comparably. So the best way to go about getting ahead on your league mates is to be proactive and be like, I'm okay sacrificing a year of buy-in to sell off Connor to some of the, there's going to be tons of buyers for those guys. Connor, Mixon, Kittle, when everyone's this close, what that means is that everyone thinks they can win. So you should be able to get some good production or some good pick value back. Like if you get a first round pick for George Kittle, I would take it. If you get an early second for James Conner, I would take it. If you get an early second for Joe Mixon, I would take it because I want to position myself to dominate this league, not just have a decent amount of chance to win the league in year one, because you could really be in great shape there. And Dylan, I finished it today. So I got to go over and review a couple things, but I did finish it today. I'm hoping I can get the 2025 quarterbacks to target and avoid, because I didn't do that during the rookie draft season, but it's not too late. You can still trade for those guys. And then looking ahead at the 2026 class, I'm hoping I can get that video out while I'm gone. I'm going to probably record it Wednesday or something, preload it to like Saturday or something. And then you guys can all get that quarterback info. And then next week, Danny and I can really sit down and do a tier list of the 2026 class, talk about the strengths, the weaknesses, and all that kind of stuff.
I give up. That shit will not fucking tighten.
Yeah. Okay. So
I don't know how you tightened it, bro. That shit. Like I thought I had tightened it like seven separate
I know
times.
what you're doing wrong. It's the little swivelly thing. You got to loosen it completely and then turn it on. But again, just don't worry about it. We'll talk about it after.
That was just checking me out.
Okay. Dylan, you'll be happy to know that Brock Purdy not only is the best 7th round quarterback in the model, I think he was a top 6 to 7 non-first round quarterback in the model. So he proved that we were all way too low on him, including the NFL. But yeah, this team's in great shape. I don't know if you have really much to add to this. What are your thoughts? My general advice with this team, Danny, was I would probably pick a side, given like when you look at the My Teams feature, this was a recent startup. Everyone's very close. You can see exactly that there's no real monster in this league. My thought was be proactive, sell Connor, sell Mixon, sell Kittle, and really punt this thing into 2026, get a lot of picks, draft all your running backs then, and you could have a freaking hammer of a team by then.
After you're done the in-season portion, will you sell high on those running backs? This is what your running back core should look like. Let me grab it.
I'm guessing it's going to be like Judkins and Henderson and those type of guys.
So he doesn't have those guys yet. Okay. So after you are done,
you're saying you're going to have like no running backs on your team.
After you're done with this team, this offseason or this in-season portion, this is what your running back core should look like.
Yeah, pretty much garb.
This was my team 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, 2022. And if you were to go here, this is it now. So,
and the reason you have a guy like Barkley and Achane and shit is because you build up all that liquidity, build up the rest of the team around it. And then when your team tells you, yeah, I'm actually ready to compete now, you can go buy Saquon Barkley. And I will say, you don't need to sell Benson. You don't need to sell, even.
I mean, unless Connor got hurt, you sell Connor before he gets hurt, and then he gets hurt. That guy gets fucked over. You'd be like, hey, you want to insure yourself? Just send me another pick for Benson.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think, and sometimes too, in more casual leagues, people will send you a better offer if you give them both guys. Like, let's say you were going to get an early to mid second for Connor. Someone might give you a 1 if you give him Benson too.
Yeah.
Right. Like if somebody's like, I'll give you a first for the Cardinals backfield or whatever, you could always sell off both guys for the same first round pick. But yeah, essentially you're going to want to tear this running back core down. And again, given Kittle's redraft projection, you should get a monster offer for him because he is an absolute beast this year. But anyways, we can probably move on to the next team here, which is from Cole World 06 here. He has Njigba's with attitude out here. Classic. Right out of the startup, looking to compete right away. What do I do about my running back room or let it ride? So right out of a startup and you're ahead 4,000 points on the rest of your league mates, that's a really good sign to start. Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Tua Tagovailoa, that is right out of the FSE playbook right there. Tua's undervalued and you grab your young quarterbacks around him. Malik Neighbors, Drake London, Travis Hunter, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I don't know how you got this wide receiver core in addition to these top 2 quarterbacks, but this is an excellent team. I actually have no idea how you drafted this out of a startup. Like you have Daniels the 103 in my rankings. Neighbors the 108 in my rankings. Drake May is an early second round pick in my rankings. Brock Bowers is an early second round pick in my rankings. And Drake London and Travis Hunter are like 2-3 turn picks in my rankings. So I have no idea how you were able to come away with this many alpha stud assets but you should feel very proud of yourself for the way that you built out this team. And I mean, Hubbard and Swift, like you might have enough running back production there to actually be kind of competitive this year.
Yeah, no, you built this team out well, having pillars at those wide receiver spots. Brock Bowers, outside of running back, realistically, which you're fine at. Like, obviously, you're not like overwhelming, but what is that, number 7 in your league analyzer? Like, for your worst position being number 7 and it being the running back position specifically, like everywhere else across the board, like
you're elite everywhere else. Like you're not just good everywhere else. You're elite everywhere else.
Yeah, you're cooking.
Yeah. So again, in season, I know you don't have your first round pick, but in season, second rounder and a young piece or something gets you another competitive running back because, Kamara's having a good year, but the guy who has Kamara is not competitive and you want to give him a 2 and Charbonnet or something for Kamara and a piece back. Like that would make sense given the state of your team. And you could definitely win this thing year one, especially knowing this is right out of a startup and your starting lineup is going to have this many difference making guys right out of a startup. Like this is an insane pull from a startup, to be honest. Like normally out of a startup, you're like, okay, you got a couple of really good pieces, good depth. You could probably win this year. You don't usually have like 5 elite assets out of a startup. That's not usually. And if you do, you'd have like nothing behind them.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is a great build, man. I think you've done a great job here. I would love to spend more time on this team, but I really do think you just crushed this so hard that we really don't need to spend that much time with it. If you wanted to, you could try and sell off one of your wide receivers for a hammer of a running back. Like let's say Drake London gets you in the range of Ashton Genty. You could go Drake London for Genty straight, or maybe it's Drake London and Zach Charbonnet for Ashton Genty and a competitive low-end wide receiver like a Darnell Mooney or Jacoby Myers or something like that.
So what do you say, Drake London plus
Charbonnet?
Drake London plus Charbonnet, and you said for
Genty and Mooney or something like that.
Yeah,
just to give you a wide receiver piece back and also get yourself a hammer running back.
Yeah, I think that's
like. Let me take a look at some of the teams here that have
probably the guy with one.
Like this guy is Bjones.
Can you get?
He's got a pretty good wide receiver core, so he might not be able to pull it off as his receiver core. He probably views as fine.
It might be a pick maybe or Genty.
I mean, this guy has no depth behind Puka and Brian Thomas, so you could probably go after Genty or Achan from him and use Drake London to do it.
Yeah, or you can get Achan plus for London. Like that would make sense too.
Hurts till he squirts is insane.
What's my Penix?
This is an unhinged name of leagues right here. Jahmyr Gibbs. Again, this guy doesn't have a whole lot. Like, how do you get Jahmyr Gibbs and Devontae Adams from this guy with his current team?
Devontae Adams go.
Yeah, that would fit his team for sure.
Go up. Jahmyr Gibbs and Devontae Adams, Drake London plus. Drake London plus 2 2s.
I was gonna say Drake London plus Chuba Hubbard.
I don't think he would trade for Chuba if he traded away Bijan.
Yeah,
or Genty. Sorry. Who's the running back?
Sometimes people will trade away a guy like Genty and be like, "I want a running back."
Like, if that's the case,
have that attitude that maybe you give him Chuba Hubbard back or Swift back or Tootin back or Charbonnet back or something.
Maybe you could squeeze in him a little bit, make him take Swift, and you add like both 2s. Honestly, like that'd be cool. Like regardless, like whatever you have to do, I'm cool with giving up some liquidity on this team because I absolutely think you could win.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on to the next last team, I believe. Let me just check if we got any more.
We get the trade question.
Get more that came in here. Yeah, we got Cole's trade question already. I did it when you were finagling your thing. And it was
that one, right?
That one right there. Yeah. Let me just refresh this one more time because I think we did get one more come through and we should be good. And again, DJ C32, if you're listening to this, I sent you a voucher for a super message. Just resubmit that question because we did not see your team on there.
Sure.
So, Michael, home league startup finished yesterday. Got Lamb at 205, London at 306, Dak at 11.6. Holy crap. I know I need to trade with Danny to get some of his running backs. But what are some other suggestions? No one in this league has played Dynasty before. Well, when no one has played Dynasty before, you're going to find that doing what this guy, what Michael did here is insanely easy.
Can we look at the chart? Okay, it's way closer than I thought it would be. But go down. And so I need a picture of this draft board. I need a picture of the draft board because like, what?
Yeah.
That receiver core. You got Dak in the 11th round. You got Lamb in the 2nd. You got who was it? You got in the 3rd as well.
London, I think he said. Yeah, 306 London.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is an insane team, dude.
My question is, it must be because you don't have like I would say the elite quarterback. I would say you don't have like the Daniels, the Allen, which I'm assuming like the league we talked about earlier, the elite quarterbacks probably went early and then they fucking let everybody else fall for some reason. Because otherwise, I personally can't contextualize a starting quarterback that can give you a quarterback one production in any type of league, casual, sharp, whatever. You could put any quarterback's name beside Dax there, and I would say you're getting like you could put even if it was Jared Goff at the 11-6. What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, it is a 10-man he lists here as well. So, you're going to lose a little bit of value on QBs, but yeah, it's definitely an easy smash there for what you've done in this draft. The one thing I will say, because like obviously the thing that stands out right now is like trade for a running back, try and win the championship. But like when you can build a team like this out of the startup, you're probably going to get hosed in running back trade deals because of what happened and where they went in a startup. Like you and I will go, hey, you should trade for like Alvin Kamara on this team. It's like, well, Alvin Kamara probably went in the 5th round or something crazy. So that's the tough part about these teams is like, yes, you can build a shell of an awesome team like this. But honestly, man, I would probably just go into the Aaron Jones is a fine RB2. Travion Henderson, you can get by with those guys.
Make a move in
until
season.
People realize what dumbass moves that they made in the draft. And they're like, I cannot compete with this team. I need picks. Because any dynasty league that I've ever been in where it's a lot of first-time dynasty players, people don't value picks until they realize picks are valuable. And it's usually mid to late into the first season that they realize that.
Yeah. And like respectfully, I love Caleb Williams, but if the difference between him and Dak is literally 10 rounds, you pick the right strategy. Like straight up, you pick the right strategy. You grabbed the receivers early. You said, hey, these fucking buffoons, it's a 10 team starting at 10, sure, but these buffoons are going to let me get all these falling quarterback values. Well, guess what? Your wide receiver core is untouchable. Like, look at that.
How many running backs this guy took?
Buddy. Holy crap. Danny, whoever that is, like he wants to set the tone.
Yeah, this is a tone-setting team right here. I mean, this is why he said in his thing, I should probably trade with Donnie. I think I said Danny at the time. I think he should probably trade with Donnie is because he has a million friggin' running backs, and obviously he has a plethora of wide receivers. So if you were in his position, knowing that you've built up this much liquidity, for me, I know Danny's going to get upset because CeeDee Lamb's like his minus 101.
You're not trading CeeDee Lamb.
I would trade CeeDee Lamb for Jahmyr Gibbs given his team situation.
No. Dude, Drake London plus fucking anything else.
Again, Drake
Your
London,
advantage in a 10-team start 10 is your wide receiver core. Jefferson and Lamb can give you 20-plus points per game. I'm not trading that.
They can. Okay, so let's say it's London. Let's say it's London plus for Genty.
Yeah.
That's probably the direction we're going here. Again, you're probably inclined to go after some of his cheaper running backs because he has so many great running backs, but I think it would be smarter to go after one of his hammers and get rid of one of your hammers at wide receiver because you're going to have a balanced, really good team. It's probably not going to be Hunter because people don't value Hunter like we do. Yeah. It's probably like Danny obviously values Lamb.
I have Lamb straight up over Jefferson. I would rather get Jahmyr Gibbs plus for Jefferson on this market than I would give up Lamb for Gibbs.
Yeah, and I tend to think that London is somewhat undervalued in Dynasty too, but I think he is the one that makes the most sense as the one that you deal because Downs and Ayuk are not going to get you necessarily what you want to get for them. Like you're not going to get Judkins or anything like with some of those guys. So you're probably better off taking London, going after Genty. If you can't get near Genty, let me ask you this. Would you take Bucky Irving and a second for Drake London? Because let's say you can't get Genty or Gibbs. Like he doesn't want to give you Genty or Gibbs.
No, I wouldn't. Hampton, maybe. Hampton, I would.
Yeah. So then at that point, you're probably better off going after like a Kenneth Walker from him or RJ Harvey from him or a Judkins from him and trying to use Downs plus or Ayuk plus or, something like that to get in.
What's Achan?
Who has Achan? Let's take a look. Who has Achan here?
Because we're only talking about this guy's specific team, and obviously, given that he has all running backs, it makes sense. But
yeah, I mean, this guy has Achan. You could maybe convince him on Drake London for Achan, kind of swap there. Because I have those guys ranked pretty similarly. I have London a little bit higher, but not by much.
Yeah, if you can get any type of installation, like maybe, I mean, realistically, Achan, and maybe he throws you like DeAndre Swift too. Like I'd be cool with that, or Diggs, like something.
Or yeah, maybe even Tyreek too. Like you could give him, you could give him like a young receiver. Like if you gave him. If you gave him Ayuk, yeah, I mean, I think I probably I have Ayuk ranked over Tyreek, so I probably wouldn't do that. But, yeah, there's a lot. Sorry, there's a lot of moves that you could do.
Maybe it's Achan, Swift, and Tyreek Hill for Ayuk in London.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would definitely make sense.
Regardless, though, you can get creative with this. Obviously, you've built out so much asset value on this team. You're number one on the analyzer for a reason. You know what your problem is, would be like running back production per se. But the fact that you do have your potential anchor of the future, Bush has Henderson RB9. I have him RB6 in Dynasty. So I'm even higher on Henderson than you are, which makes sense because I was higher on the prospect as well. And obviously, I'm completely Drake Mayfield. So
yeah, I mean, the difference to me is just that I have Irving ahead of him and Brees ahead of him and somebody else ahead of him that I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, that would be the difference.
Barkley, I guess. You probably have him over Barkley, maybe? No.
Yeah, I do.
You have him over Saquon?
Absolutely.
Oof, yeah. I mean, I can't get there. I love Henderson, but I can't put him over Barkley.
Dude, he might catch 80 balls this year as a rookie.
He might. You're right. But there is the existing scenario in which he's an NFL draft bust and isn't a good player.
Maybe,
not saying it's likely, but it exists.
Hey, we talked earlier. What was the likelihood that Judkins could be over Saquon, even if Saquon had the season he just did? And I have Henderson ranked over Judkins.
We said, what is the likelihood he could be over Saquon? But I don't have Judkins ranked over Saquon now.
But that's the thing. It's like
it's the QB discussion that we just had. You got to see it a little bit first with Trevion Henderson.
Sure, but we are talking dynasty asset value as opposed to ranking running back. Ranking running backs in the NFL, different story. Obviously, Saquon's going to be higher, but like specifically from a dynasty lens, like I mean, even if Saquon did exactly what he did last year, there's still about a half chance that Henderson's ranked higher. And if Saquon were to be an 18 point per game running back, I would almost put it at an 85% likelihood Henderson will be higher than him next year.
If Henderson's floor is a top 24 running back every year of his career, I would say that is probably more like his 30th, 40th range of outcomes, not his floor. His floor is that he's a bad NFL player. That's every prospect's floor.
I don't think Swift sniffs him as a rusher.
No, I don't think so either. I'm just saying that his floor is lower than DeAndre Swift currently is because everybody's floor is lower than that. Even the best prospect ever. Like you could have said last year, Marvin Harrison's floor is T. Higgins. Well, it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? Like it's not actually that. It's his floor is that he's a bust.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if his floor is DeAndre Swift was like a fucking top 15 startup pick like 3 years ago.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think DeAndre Swift's career trajectory is about what I'm projecting for Henderson, give or take, which is not a knock on Henderson. DeAndre Swift was once a very highly valuable asset.
At the end of the day, man, we're all passionate. We all take pride in great teams that we build. I do not blame you as well. I mean, I've literally found excuses. Bush knows. I will find excuses to talk about my own teams because I'm proud of what I built.
We could be talking about what we had for dinner, and Danny would be like, dude, did you see this dynasty trade I made? Like, he's completely unhinged. But anyways, let's move on.
I'll be watching a Call of Duty event, and somebody behind me will mention football. Hey, have you seen my dynasty fantasy football team?
Danny's showing them
that didn't actually happen, but...
But anyways, this is the last one that we're going to get to. Again, if you do purchase a review, we'll do it. But ideally, we've been on here for 2.5 hours. We probably don't do any more teams.
I need to eat something after this straight up, bro.
I'm starving. Touch Me Gently is also hilarious team name, by the way. I've never seen that one yet.
The assortment of team names we've gotten in this league.
Yeah. Your mom, Bijan My Penix is also hilarious too. Anyways. Third year league, year one champ. Last year finished third with bad luck. Lucked into the 101 after trading Reed for a first his rookie year. Insane that you got the 101 out of that. Got Hunter 103. Also traded Josh Jacobs for falling Burden to get younger at wide receiver, which is
genital wards.
Yeah, that's crazy. You guys just have unhinged league mates.
Anal reads.
This is crazy. League adding a flex for the 2026 season, not high on the 2026 class, considering shopping my first. Again, that's a slippery slope. I get what you mean, but
Drake's golden shower.
Yeah, this is nuts.
Sorry.
Anyways,
Let me lock in.
I get the idea of wanting to shop your first because your league is not high on the class. But to be honest with you, you should be buying first if that's the case.
Dude, what? You're trying to sell your first because your league's low on the class? Why? If your league's low in the class, wouldn't you want to monopolize those picks because they're fucking letting them go for nothing? Like, you know what I mean? Like it does not up. It's like, why would you sell your first if the league doesn't value it?
Yeah, exactly. Because the universal principle, guys, it is not debatable. This happens every single year, no matter how many bad prospects are in the class, how good you think the class is going in. It's going to go up in value. Like, it does not matter. The 2026 class could have no quarterback go in the first round, and it is still going to be more valuable in 8 months from now than it is right now.
It's very simple to me. Like, people will say, oh, yeah, low risk savings accounts. Like, you're going to lose money on interest. Like, straight up the safest asset in general to buy in the world is Dynasty rookie picks.
Unless
you're in a Debbie league.
Not to mention, what happens if Arch comes out? What happens if we get a Garrett Nussmeier 50 touchdowns?
What happens if Jeremiah Love goes for 2.5K yards this year?
Yeah, Garrett Nussmeier has 50 touchdowns and Nick Anderson catches 19 of them. Well, he's a top 10 pick too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of outs that the picks go up in value. And if your leagues are treating them at basement prices, you should be buying them, not selling them. But
it's very simple. It's like, hey, guess what, Bush? If I offer you a sports card that you know is going to be worth $100 next year for $80, you don't even have to be interested in sports cards. You're taking that because you know inherently it's going to be worth 20% more. Or what would that be actually? 4 to 5, 25% more.
Yeah, no, exactly. So again, this team, really good shape. No weaknesses, really. Like, I mean, you're top 5 at every, or top 6 at every position. And you actually, I would rank you higher than 6th with Loveland, Ferguson, Pitts as a combined, unit team of tight ends there. So this is a great team. You've built out a really strong roster. You have an extra 3 in each of the next 2 draft classes. You don't have your 4 next year, but again, this is really well done. This is a really strongly constructed team. However, what you just said, should I sell my first? Your team's young, man. I would probably buy ones if people don't value them. If somebody's going to give you a 1 and a 2 for Jonathan Taylor because they hate the class, I'm selling players at that point because I want to monopolize my class.
Better yet, hey, listen, JT, Pacheco, you guys can have both of them. Hey, you can even have both of them plus DJ Moore. Give me 2 1s and a 2.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. I'm willing to shed some fat off of this roster, only hold young players. Like somebody's going to give me a 1 and a 2 for Terry McLaurin. Boom. Somebody's going to give me a 1 and a 2 for Jalen Waddle. Boom. Somebody's going to give me a 1 and a 2 for Jonathan Taylor. Boom. Give me a early 2 for Isaiah Pacheco. Probably gone. Like DJ Moore, early 2, maybe even potentially more if you can package a couple guys like him together. Like, I'm fine shedding production off of this team. I know it's a good team already, and some people might be like, just sell your first, go all in. But if people, I'm going off of the piece of insight you gave us in your league. People do not value first in 2026. That means that you can build a monster in this league. You can build a monster because that piece of contest exists.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, if you can monopolize that 2026 class, because everybody just doesn't like it. They say, hey, they expect you to compete this year, and then you throw a curveball at them and say, hey, listen, like Jonathan Taylor's available, Breece Hall's available, Isaiah Pacheco's available, Tyrone Tracy's available, Terry McLaurin, Jalen Waddle, DJ Moore, like Ricky Pearsall. Like, you have so many assets where, I mean, it goes back to the conversation we had earlier, Corey. I am perfectly fine as a buyer spending multiple first-round picks on needle-moving franchise assets, green assets, cornerstone assets. I'm very hesitant buying players that maybe have in a liquid market for a first-round pick, like a McCaffrey, et cetera, straight up.
Or guys that are yellow or orange assets, period, for first-round capital. If you sell a first-round pick, ideally, it's in a package to get a green asset, or maybe it's for a green asset somehow straight up, or whatever the case is. When you're selling a first-round pick for Jalen Waddle, who's my wide receiver 33 in Dynasty, it's like there's a lot of ways in which that doesn't work out for you.
And the inverse of that is, especially in a year where you can 1-year punt and you don't need that the contending value, the production value from non-needle moving structured assets. Because you got to think of it in the wider lens. What is the grand scheme of this team? The grand scheme, when you close your eyes and you picture yourself at your top peak contending window, Joe Burrow is going to be on that team. Kyler Murray is going to be on that team. Who knows? Kyler Murray or JJ McCarthy. Maybe JJ McCarthy is like a top 10 quarterback after this year. Like, who knows? Like, one of those quarterbacks plus
I love
Joe
that
Burrow.
Quarterback core, by the way. There's so many of like guys that I love in Dynasty on that team. That's like literally as me of a quarterback core as you could possibly get. Kyler, Daniel Jones, Milroe, like Burrow. I love those guys.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. It's like, hey, if JJ McCarthy doesn't quite reach that level, cool. You keep him as a quarterback 3. Kyler's going to be a quarterback 2. JJ McCarthy does reach that level and he's a top 15 startup pick next year, then you make Kyler Murray expendable, and you didn't have to use that production this year because you have the affordability to maybe be able to make that flip in season. If JJ McCarthy has 24 touchdowns and 11 interceptions by week 10, and a guy in your league has a quarterback go down, he has no quarterback 2, guess what? You can get 2+ first-round picks for Kyler Murray on the spot. You might be able to get 3 first-round picks if you add like DJ Moore to that package.
Yeah, who knows? You might even have to sell Kyler. You could sell Daniel Jones for a 1 in season if he's the quarterback 9 in fantasy because he runs the football and has good weapons.
Yeah. I'm more so means that I'm personally not high. See, the thing is, you can personally not be high, but pretty sure most of my league Noah Morning What does that
know
mean?
nothing about the 2026 class. So he's saying the assessment that he said, not my league is low on the class. It's that nobody, like I'm the only one who knows about the class and I'm low on it. I mean, Ben, I would ask you, do your league mates generally value first round capital picks highly? Because if they don't, and I would imagine they don't because they don't know anything about the upcoming draft classes, then you're probably still better off buying in that case. But if they value first round picks highly and they don't know that the class is expected to be good, then I kind of get your point to some degree.
Respectfully, though, if they don't know about the class or at least watch content to have an idea about the class, that probably means they ain't valuing picks in general.
Yeah. Oh, I just got some garbage in my inbox just now.
Let's hear it.
Oh, you guys want to see some absolute garbage? Let's show off the new camera here because I think this will actually be able to
see it.
Look at that. Look at that garbage in my inbox. Matthew Golden in a 4th for Romeo Dubs, Jalen McMillan in a 3rd. That's what I just got offered in a league.
You're way nicer than me for hiding their name.
It was a horrible offer.
Anyway, nice. It's not in a listener league? Is it like
no? It's in Can't Wait. It's a league that I joined a couple years ago.
You know, I knew it wasn't a listener league because I know any of our listeners wouldn't offer you that urine.
Yeah, that's an absolute garbage offer. But anyways, again, Ben, even despite you saying you don't like the 2026 class, you're still, if your league mates don't know anything about the next year, you're probably not going to get an absolute astronomical amount of value for your picks anyways.
If this is the market that you're dealing with, then like if all you can get with that first is a read level asset, hold the pick.
Yeah. You'll get a 1. Like I'm telling you right now, you'll get a 1 and a 2, no problem for Terry McLaurin. You'll get a 1 and a 2, no problem for Jalen Waddle, especially after this Jonnu Smith news. You'll get a 1 and a 2, no problem for Jonathan Taylor. Like keep building, keep stacking assets because you will have a monster ass team. Again, could this team hypothetically compete? Yes, but it's built young. And if you have a bunch of assets again next year to keep reloading to this thing, this will be an absolute monster by 2027. And you will probably make some league mates of yours leave, most likely. So just be aware of that. On my way to offer Corey garbage facts. Devontae Adams in the flex or Swift as a second running back. Looks like I'll be semi-contending. This is pick 88. You're on the clock right now. Who are you taking here? Adams or Swift? Probably Adams, right? They're both contending assets. Just give me the guy who projects better.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
because I mean, like, it depends what the running backs left look like. Can you wait around so get like a Connor type and Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, pick 88 is pretty high for both of those assets.
Very high.
So I would say there's probably some non-competitive assets on the board, but you said semi-contending is never what you want to be doing. You said I'm semi-contending. Semi-contending. Have a lane picked out at this point.
Respectfully, semi-contending ain't a fucking thing. That doesn't exist. You know what that is? That's caught in fucking limbo.
Yeah, Danny's so aggressive in the chat.
No. Hey, that's my personality. You know, all jokes aside, even when I talk like this, like you guys know, we're talking ball. Hey, I'm like that buddy. Like you guys go to a bar, you watch your football game, whatever, and he's the one just like talking shit throughout of it. Like obviously, you know, it's all in good love. I'm sure you have friends like that. I mean, fuck, I'm sure you and BMAC have probably gotten into some jokes, arguments during football games before. You know what I'm saying? Like at the same time, though,
I would say Rhett. Who else is on the board? Who else is on the board? Non-contending assets. What non-contending assets are on the board? Because pick 88 is high for Devontae Adams and Swift. Like that's what pick is that? Like 7th round? That seems pretty high to me for those guys to be going off the board, considering where you and I got them in our, like where you got Swift in our startup. Did you get them in like the 11th round?
Yeah, I got him at the 1102.
Yeah, and again, okay, our leagues are psycho. He's probably a 10th or a 9th round or another leagues, but yeah, 7th round where you're on the board right now, that's pretty high.
Here, let's close off this team. Mike actually sent the draft board in the FSE Discord, so I'll show anybody that was interested in looking at that.
Anyways, yeah, this team's in good shape. Continue to build. I would say don't be impatient and sell your first and second. That would be my hunch because you got a first-round pick for Jaden Reed and it ended up being Ashton Genty, and I would consider that a very, very good range of outcomes knowing that people are going to do that in your league, and I would continue to exploit that. So, yeah, we can move off of this. If you want to quickly show Michael's draft board, you can go ahead and do that, but I am starving, so I want to get off.
Just 2 seconds. Stick with me for 2 seconds, and then we'll both eat because I'm just as hungry as you are. In fact, probably more considering the weight that I got.
Yeah. So let's see what Michael's got on the board here. So was this a fast draft? Because I don't see any trades.
I don't see any trades. It might have been a fast draft. Yeah, but regardless, I mean, Mr. Meaty is an insane name.
All these names are insane. Every this is the most insane named team review session that we've ever done. But yeah, Hunter in the 4th, Henderson in the 5th, Mayfield, Purdy in the 6th and
bro,
7th.
How is Will Howard going above Geno Smith? Am I faded? Like, what?
That is insane.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude. Brian Robinson went ahead of Brandon Ayuk.
Oh my God! Wait. You mean Kyle Manor also went above Geno Smith? Javonte Williams to the same team around before.
Kyron Williams went 2 picks before Rashee Rice.
What am I witnessing? Fucking
yeah.
Shedeur Sanders went 3 rounds before Geno Smith.
That's nuts. That's nuts, man.
What? Jalen Milroe, bro.
Drake May in the end of the 3rd round.
Jalen Milroe went 3 picks before Bryce Young.
That's crazy. I love me some Jalen Milroe. That is psychotic.
Yo, no, the real talk, Mike. This is like probably the most hilarious draft board I think I've ever seen.
Brother, Quinshon Judkins is available, and you're asking me about DeAndre Swift and Devontae Adams. Take Judkins, dude.
Take Judkins, absolutely. Wait,
holy cow, dude. And also, by the way, based on what's on the board, I would highly suggest you go rebuild for the rest of the draft.
Jesus.
If Judkins is available at the 88th pick, like where is Judkins in my rankings right now?
Appreciate it, by the way, Ben. Appreciate it. Where's Judkins in your rankings? Probably a 5th round pick. That's about where I have him.
Judkins is my 61st overall player, and there's 8 rookie picks ahead of him. So he's my 53rd overall player, and he's available on 88. Again, I would highly suggest. You have Judkins. Okay, you have Judkins already. Okay.
Yeah. Where do I have Judkins ranked?
Okay, Rhett. Who's available on the board right now? And then we'll sign off here. You said Adams, Swift. Who else is on the board? That's like a younger asset. I'm curious about.
Adams, Swift. Yeah, let us know what
he says. He has Judkins already. Not he's on the board. Okay.
Oh, okay. Also, I have Judkins 56 overall, including the rookie picks.
Yeah, he's 53 overall for me. So he's a very, very highly valued asset. But yeah, quickly let us know. Also, while we're waiting here, quickly rehashing some of the announcements we had earlier. Like the stream, obviously. If you guys got if you got a free team review voucher and you haven't liked the stream yet, I mean, I don't know what we got to do. We just gave you a free review voucher, and if you haven't liked the stream, we really appreciate you. Subscribe.
We just blessed you.
Yeah, exactly. If you are a graphic designer and you're looking for work, hit us in the link down below in the description. And then also be sure if you guys want more team reviews, sign up on flockfantasy.com, promo code FSE. Annual sign up. Again, I will say this again. This is the best time of year to sign up annually on the site because you will be covered through the redraft season, in-season content, draft guides, get our dynasty draft guides still, especially if you haven't had a rookie draft somehow, you would be way getting a huge amount of value. It will also cover you through next off season, next dynasty rookie draft season, next year's prospect model stuff, next year's draft guides, all that kind of stuff will get you covered. So definitely this is the best time to sign up for an annual right now. And you get a free team review voucher, like I said. And he said Pacheco, Pollard, Connor, those are the running backs on the board.
What wide receivers?
Yeah, what wide receivers and quarterbacks and tight ends are on the board would be my question. Also, potentially trading down and getting future rookie picks would also be there. We'll trade therapy for reviews. Hey, Danny, you might have to take him up on that.
I might have to take you up on that at this point.
I have a guy already, so I'll probably pass on that one. But yeah, anyways. Rhett, give us some quick insight to what's going on in your league, and then we will sign out of here. And again, make sure we'll give you an update of what we're doing this week. So Wednesday, really cool video idea I had. I'm going to go through my dynasty teams, my contending teams specifically, and I'm going to go send some offers, and I'm going to edit the video and show you guys my process, what I'm thinking, basically what we just did for you guys, except I'm going to do it for my own teams. So I can give you an idea and insight how I construct trades, some of the DMs that I'll send people and that kind of thing. That's going to be on Wednesday. I'm going to Cuba from Thursday to Tuesday. But on Friday or Saturday, whatever we decide to pre-record it for, we'll have a redraft video of some kind. Me and Danny still have to do that. And then quarterbacks to target and avoid both the 2025 and 2026 class will probably drop while I'm gone as well. So that's what we got coming up for you guys this week.
I may have found the best name for a cornerback I've ever seen in my life.
What's that?
I don't think it's debatable, actually.
Mobility. That's crazy.
A corner named Mobility is Hall of Fame.
That is elite. Yeah, it's like, do you remember the Auburn safety named Smoke Monday?
Yeah, I remember Smoke Monday. There was another, obviously Kool-Aid McKinstry was a big one at the time.
Yeah.
Fuck the Saints, right?
Yep. Shout out. Also, he said these are the guys available on the board. I mean, I would take Chris Godwin or Jerry Jeudy before I take Devontae Adams, especially if you if you're not like going all in to try and get the win now production. But it sounds like actually, Rhett, your startup is going like pretty sharp. Like there's no screaming values on the board given what you've told us so far.
Yeah, facts.
But yeah, I mean, Godwin, Judy definitely makes sense. If you're going to take Adams, you better go full commit to the contending window there. And then yes, Dylan, I did see this as well, the NFL Stock Exchange going through the 2026 class as well. So we'll I checked out the wide receiver one because the wide receiver specifically. I'm like, I need to know if I'm missing any names because I feel like there's guys that I just don't know about who could emerge. But anyways, appreciate you guys for joining us. Peace out. We'll talk to you soon.